time to save not only one angel, but maybe all of them. Haha, good evening. How are you doing tonight? Yep. Tonight it's time to kick God's butt. That wherever that may be on that weird sphere that is God in this game. You're recovering from way too sweet food. Oh no! What sweet food? Are you not good with sweet food? Our neighbors gave us a cake from one of their kids. Oh god, what is it called? What do you call it when they get baptized or something? I'm saying a bit, but like honestly, that piece was like a fourth of the cake. I feel you. Because I ate that and I feel like I'm going to burst. Well, yeah. Are we ready to meet God? Well, we met God already, but like, are we ready to obliterate God from the stratosphere? Chocolate brownie with extra white chocolate. Oh, whoa. Wow. Okay, that's a lot, yeah. Brownies though. I should make some brownies sometime again. I love brownies. Brownies are the one thing I regularly bake. They're so good. Michi prepares his magic. GPM instructs residents to evacuate while everyone fulfills their roles. Il and Atis rush to analyze the judgment program. Oh right. Hold on. He's probably he's still on his little I'm going to sacrifice myself thingy. Now that we know the judgment program is inside of him. I won't let you do that. No. There's what things I can do to help everyone get even a little rest, continuing to brew delicious coffees about all. Well, before I realized at the time had flown by, it was night before our plan would take place. Oops, the night. Can I get some sound, game? Hello? To prepare myself to see God in my own room, I ran a pen through a letter set. As I write the text, I pondered. To think a time would come when I, of all people, would try to destroy God. Several thousand years passed since my creation, and all that time it never crossed my mind. Not even once, nor had I the capacity to contemplate some things. Hello, game? There's just no sound. But my sound is on. I doubt anyone in heaven ever thought that I could fall. While God, my creator, obviously understood such things, he's likely still angered by this. He likely thinks that if one creates a puppet, the very basis for emotion should have been erased from the start. However, regardless of how much unnecessary is removed from angels as superior beings, and I myself was called the greatest masterpiece among those angels. Tracing back the material for me was a human. Such living beings were used as materials to create the upgraded life form, so of course they possess a soul. Even God couldn't remove that and could only seal it away. Why is there no sound? There is sound. Ah! There we go. The hell? Game? That's right. Aha! That was weird. That's why I shall use that soul to make it possible to overthrow God. As I think of such things, my pen completes the final stroke. What I wrote were 2 letters, one of them after staring down at it. After changing my mind, I go to tear up the other letter, but unconsciously, the thing running down my cheek falls onto the letter. No! Don't cry, baby. The letter I was trying to destroy, that I grip it tightly and press it against my cheek to hide my pathetic face. No. Maybe. It's unfair, it's unfair, it's unfair. How many times did I repeat those words over the last 3 days? If possible, I would run away with her right this moment. However, if I don't do this, everything ends. All the cherished things I've built up will vanish along with this world. Then at least. The game is a bit quiet. Is this better? Well, we'll see when he says something again. Eli, I like your smile. We sure like his smile, yes. I must make this battle meaningful, to protect the time and place I spent along with her. This time I store the letter in a place I can't be found and wipe away what's in my eyes. I'm sure she's likely still awake and I go to her. Huh? Hello. I'm so nervous I can't sleep. As I sit in bed, I hold Kurodo and mutter this. No, to be exact, I don't feel like sleeping. I don't even have the willpower to change my clothes. As usual, night at Enchanté is peaceful. Even the sky looks so pretty. But tomorrow, right over Enchanté, a battle with angels for the fate of every person in the world will happen. Yeah! Yeah, I know, Kurodo. After all this, it's still unbelievable. I wouldn't say anything like that. Better now. Okay. Suddenly a knock rings out. Everyone said they were going to bed early in preparation for tomorrow. Who could it be? When I say come in... Ah!
Hello.
It was Il who visited, but he has a somewhat sad smile. Yeah, sure. Let's go on a date. After such a wonderful invitation held by Eel, we fly through the night sky and arrive at... back then, the viewing deck we visited at the end of the date with him. How nostalgic. The night wind swaying my hair is the same as that time. Quietly, me and Eel sit down on the stable part of the scaffold. The two of us remain silent for a while and look down at the illumination of the city. You are so pretty. Eel suddenly closes the distance between us, and as he cuddles up to me, he begins to speak quietly. Me? Huh? Back then, could you mean... when he made us fly? Was that a line from his game? It was. Well, they're nice words though. When he admits this, I return a smile to him. It's okay. True, you may have chosen the words by referencing a video game, but it's also true that you showed me such a beautiful sight wanting to cheer me up. Indian food, how guys, I knew this will be wonderful evening. Hi! Good evening! We're about to fight God. Sometime soon. Is that true? He did his best to propose the date, so I think he was the same gentle eel since back then. And supposing even if he wasn't, you're here beside me now, like this? You've cuddled up to me by your own will. You aren't a fictional person. Yeah, about that. You do be like that sometimes. The wings on Eel's back flapped slightly. Or so I thought, but he was just using his wings to shield me from the night wind. Sometimes you just gotta fight out. Yep. How warm. As I entrusted myself to him, he asked me an unexpected question. Yes. Oh, of course. It's a place I met you and everyone. I like it a lot, and I'm confident that I like it from now on and forever. After Ida makes a decisive no, I fucking hate it. Okay. Yeah, if he doesn't get a kiss CG, I'll riot. Well, you do not get to sacrifice yourself. I swear to God. I killed that god with my own two hands if it means you don't have to sacrifice yourself. After Eel says this firmly, I understand, but you don't need to carry it all alone. You have me and everyone at Enchanté. If you're hurting, eat a float or other sweets at the shop. Make merry with everyone and soothe your heart. That's right. This place will always be home to you too. Rip to the other side in the old moments. Yeah. Though I think actually for these games it's one person who has to do all the art, like both the sprites and the CGs. Or maybe the bases, and then they have like assistants who imitate that one main artist's style. I'm not quite sure. It is a ton of work, yeah. After Eel says this, he draws me even closer. Understanding the meaning of this, I close my eyes. Then, what kind of kiss CG is that? It's pretty, but like, they could have shown this from the side. Well, smoothie. Kisses gently dropped upon my lips. Aww. Right now, only one such emotion exists in this world, and by his own will, he directs it towards me. The moment I feel it, a happiness I can't put into words fills my chest. For seconds or tens of seconds. After feeling each other's warmth like this, reluctant to part, we press our lips together. You were exhausted. 4 hours of drawing sound exhausting though. I drew a meme thingy for next week and it took 2 hours. It doesn't look like it would take 2 hours, and I feel bad about that and exhausted, but hey. He is a nerd, yeah. His entire personality was originally based upon a video game character. Let him be. With a gentle smile, he starts drawing up bright futures. Oh. Mayhaps. Maybe because he looks forward to the future, Eel's wings sway happily. Aww. Yay! Oh, my hometown when it's not getting raided by angels!
あるのです。私の胸に宿ったあなたへの温かな思い。きっと世界で唯一の私だけの思いを。
You are
本当は今すぐに
baby.
でも伝えたい。いえ、伝えるべきなのでしょうが。
Baby.
でもどうかそれは全てが終わるその時に。
Don't raise your own death flag like this. Feelings he wants to tell me. I immediately understood the meaning, but I won't say it. Instead, okay, I'll be waiting. A knot of cheeks flushed hot with happiness.
ことね、私の心を奏でてくれた大切な音色よ。私の思いと歌は全てあなたに捧げます。
I love he.
He draws me close once more, and without hesitation, I answer his kiss again. Ha! Yes! Good thing I stopped before this scene last time. Then, just before noon on the big day, as though announcing the time, an evacuation alert echoes out. The government made an announcement thanks to the distraction Misha made. There was the possibility of a mass disaster due to adverse weather conditions. How the government got people to believe such absurd stories is impressive. Also, the mass disaster trying to occur isn't due to a bit of abnormal weather. The sound of cracking space was the signal for us to take action. Yeehaw! Within moments, the sky begins to stain red. Then in the center, just like on Amasaki Island, a giant wormhole begins opening to invade the human world. From that gap, a large number of figures fly out. They're probably angels trying to stop Misha. Man, a Japanese word as well. In that case, there's no mistake that the other side of the wormhole is Heavenly World Camp. More specifically, the Spirit Furnace trying to absorb humans for God's Salvation Project. During this, we stand in front of the gate to immediately head to the Heavenly
予想
World.
通り、戦闘用の天使はミシェルたちの足止めに全投入されているようですね。
Ho ho.
ただし、一人を除いて
Eel's eyes narrow. He probably means him waiting for us at the tower.
断罪プログラム発動用のコー
Solitos
ド
is
解析
probably still
もな
with
んと
God.
かギリギリ間に合ったな。
Yeah.
準備はいいか？いる。
Salvation Project. God is trying to abduct all of humanity to use humans as bases to make more angels.
ええ、もちろんです。最後の懸念であった
へえ
必要な霊力の件も任せてください。供給先の当てはありますので。
That's a fallen angel.
それ
His
じゃ
name is Epilogi. And he's a good boy.
ええ、炉の吸引が始まる前に反撃、いえ、反逆といきましょう。
Yay! At the same time, Eve makes a cheerful smile. Ignis and Canis, who are to help slow down the angels, come walking over with loud footsteps.
どれだけの戦力を揃えていようと、この町に
Sounds like a weird plan. He's got why not make more angels from
断
scratch?
じて被害は出さ
Because God made angels by using humans. By combining humans and some other non-human creatures a long time ago. He can't make them from scratch. Like, I haven't seen Star Trek, so I wouldn't know.
帰りを待っているぞ。いる。ことね。
てめえのために働くんだ。戻ってきたらなんかおごれよな。いる。
Sure.
そういえば私を箱入りと呼ばなくなって久しいですね。
今のお前にそんなあだ名は必要ねえだろ。
Also, yes, fallen
行ってこい。
angels have
上から目
black
線のク
wings.
ソ野郎に
That's also
目にもの
why
見せてや
why
れ。
Eel's wings are stained black on the ends.
ええ、
He's not completely fallen. For some reason. You all be careful too. After giving each other a last smile, Ignis, Epilogi, and everyone run off. Alright then, as though saying this, we go to open the door when there's a sudden ring on my smartphone. Why we don't really have time to answer. It's from Kadia, who's supposed to have evacuated.
きっと身を案じてくれているのでしょう。最低限の挨拶で済むでしょうし、出ても大丈夫ですよ。
Yeah. Thanks, Eel. The connection's bad in here, so I take it outside real quick. That's not a good idea. Don't get separated. To book Kadia at ease, I hurry outside the gate room.
や、ちょっとお邪魔するよ。
おや、ミシェルどうしました？ホール抑止のために配置についたはずでは。
What's going on? Imagine sitting down on a bunch of angels subduct humans and they all evacuate him.
ちょっとイルに確認しておきたくてさ。
I don't like where this is going.
本当に行くんだね。
ええ、もう決めたことです。これは私にしかできないことですから。やはりあなたは里い。あの話を聞いて気づいたのですね。本当に底の知れない不思議な人だ。
You do not get to sacrifice yourself.
あなたには大変お世話になりました。ここに来たばかりのことを
I refuse.
ようやくすべて思い出せたのです。
No.
情けないことに、草案に拾われたこと以外、ほとんど記憶が飛んでいまして、てっきりあなたにも正体を隠せているものと、あなたが手を差し伸べてくれなければ、きっと私は琴音と出会えなかった。
イル、俺は。
それ以上は言わないでください。言うならどうか、一言だけ。
I'm betting $5 that Eel told Kadia to call us so he could just
イル、
sneak away.
はい、行ってきます。ミシェル、私の大切な。
She's sexy. Yeah! Sorry for the wait, Eel. Kadia said he's. Huh? Misha, why are you here?
一応お見送りをしようと思ってね。二人とも行ってらっしゃい。
Yeah, when we get back, we'll all have a tea party.
では、今度こそ行きましょう。すべて
Ah!
終わらせるために。
Much like when we headed to camp to save Eel, I put my hand over his, slowly turned the doorknob and head into the overflowing light. Okay, never mind. He's not going off on his own. At least. But I still don't trust that he won't just sacrifice himself. Once we have interrupted God's plan, we have to yeah! After passing through the gate, it's a contest of speed. The moment we're out, Eel picks me up and makes a straight line for the tower in the center of the world. As usual, in front of the tower is a door with a powerful barrier, but while it tried its hardest, the arrows of light fired by Eel blow it down by force. FBI, open up! Number 2! We instantly enter inside. He says nothing to me to confirm and just gives me a glance. Then takes off like a bullet, aiming for the summit where God is. An ordinary person wouldn't even be able to perceive the speed. Something white falling from above stops him. When he notices it, Eel takes a big turn. The falling slash of light cuts through the feathers left by Eel in the air. Inside this tower, no, in Heavenly World Camp, trying to stop us, there exists only one angel. Your shoulder pads are still ugly. Solitus.
やはりあなたが立ちふさがりますか。それほど神の信託に。
信託だと。
After giving us a cynical laugh.
そんなものはどうでもいい。
Oh. Opposed to Eel's surprise, Solitus spits up an obsessive shout.
今度こそお前を取り戻してみせる。
Yo, Solitus, I think you should look into yourself a bit and see if you haven't gained emotions.
お前が何度でも落ちるのなら、その
I think
度
you're
に
a
東湖隊が
little
正すまで。
obsessed for someone who's not supposed to have emotions. There's only one thing on his
お前がい
face.
るべきは人間界ではない。この閉ざされた箱庭の世界。お前と東湖隊が共に守り続けてきた世界だ。お前を元あるべき姿に戻し、落ちる原因となるその人間を殺す。
Mm-hmm. Nothing but pure angel.
ソリツス、
Ingr.
あなたは。
Ingrid.
After listening to Solitus shouting, Eel relaxes the strength of his arm holding me. Forms walls of light into a cube and seals me inside it, then faces straight at Solitus. Eel! It's like a cage of light floating in the air. From inside I hurriedly call to him.
大丈夫ですよ。 すぐに終わ
Just admit you gave
り、あなたと
me.
再び塔を登ります。
He's obsessed.
ソリティス、彼女を狙っても無駄です。あの結界は私の霊力と直接リンクしています。
Why would you tell him that?
彼女を殺したければまず私を殺しなさい。とはね。
ならばお前をフォーマットし結界が解けたところで殺せばいい話だ。
さすが
They glare sharply at each other. In this tower piercing the heavens, only these two angels exist within. When I blink my eyes dry in nervousness, their forms vanish in that moment. Light and spear crash together. Bah! The two lights race through the tower like a gale. At a speed the human eye can't discern, even Kotone likely cannot tell what's occurring before her eyes. I mean, she is human! Spear slash was one. However, as one of those fighting, I have a calm grasp of the situation.
うがて
When I fire a rain of light from Solita's back, small spears of light fire to oppose it. In terms of number and power, I currently have the upper hand, but...
私は打天使能力が低下しています。使用できる霊力も現時点では限られている。加えこの狭い空間での戦闘、近接戦闘に特化したソリティスが有利なのは明らか。
Well, why not go up then? Yee! As expected, hidden behind the light, Solitus closes in with spear in hand. I promptly choose to evade and execute it. After barely almost hitting the wall, I immediately turn. This time I take his back and pursue him. Yee. With no care for damaging the surroundings, I continue to fire attacks incessantly, only looking to bring him down. However, he accelerates to overtake me, and when he passes... As we intersect, he launches a single attack at extreme speed, while I had been blocking him with barriers. Ah! No! His spear finally grazes my arm. The compulsory command instantly through the... That's missing a word. Through the wound and encroaches my brain. Of course Solitus wouldn't miss such a
レー
chance.
ス断罪の使徒今すぐ戦闘行動の停止を。
その権限を破壊する。
I activate the judgment plan. In exchange for a burning pain, a part of God's functions, the oracle in my body is destroyed.
強制命令を無効化しただと。
Wait. He can just
こ
use
ちらにも切り札がありまして、
the judgment
さすがに3度も同じでは食いません。
several times? What?
ならば意識を奪い抵抗すらさせぬまで。
It's just like snaps his fingers. Boom! Judgment plan. Excuse me. Solitus grasps the spear in one hand. I immediately understand what that means. I go to oppose it with the same attack. I inhale, vibrate my throat, and extend my arm. Just use key to mind. Boom. Knockdown. Song and song turn to different shades of light bombardments and collide. While intense, the battle is beautiful. If someone had witnessed the spectacle, they would likely describe it that way. The mid-air battle ebbs and flows. Soaring through the tower at high speed, I close the distance, take my distance, attacking and defending depending on the time. However, my brain makes a calm determination. Because I lack spirit energy, I cannot fire a decisive blow. At this rate, I cannot win.
けれど引きはしない。今の私には守るべきものが、守りたい世界が、守りたい人が、琴音がいるのだから。
I think of her and inhale deeply once more. Then... Baby! Ah! I play it out. I change the somber feelings into song. The melody I weave takes shape and counters every attack that Solitus unleashes. Here and now, born for the first time, my first spell still unnamed by anyone. A blessing of light created by me.
お前はなぜそのような顔を。
While handling his spear, Solitus shouts at me as I smile and sing.
それもそうでしょう。
It's because right now I'm not singing to defeat him. Simply with all my heart I sing with feelings for Kotone, entirely devoted to her. Fighting, magic are nothing but extra results.
不思議だ。なぜか自然と笑みが浮かんでくる。
He's so pretty.
この満ち足りた気持ちを人は何と呼ぶのだろう。彼らは何と呼んだのだろう。
It's not to take, I sing to protect what I cherish. I wonder if this song is reaching them who have already passed on. It was a song filled with love.
見てみると信じよう。祈
Reach them, reach those two, and reach Kotone.
残念だ。
No.
私が叶うのなら永遠にこの歌を歌っていたかった。
But there's no time would be enough. Very reluctant I should end this soon. The time of judgment draws near.
お前を停止させるためならばこの身が砕けようといとわぬ。
Perhaps out of irritation, despite taking arrows flying into him, Solitus flaps his wide wings and approaches me. If he dies, I arrive. Who? You? Elo Solitus. A spear approaches at high speed. It would be impossible to avoid from here. A simple barrier would likely be breached. In that case, I'll abandon fighting as an angel.
お前の砲術ってやつ確かに強力なんだろうけどよ。いいか、万が一てめえの得意な空中戦で相手が懐にまで飛び込んできたら
He's not allowed to
深
die.
く考えねえでとにかく思いっきり
蹴り上げる。
With no form or anything, I do an excessively crude kick straight up. However, it makes an impressive direct hit. At a completely unexpected move and impact, Solitus lets go of his spear, then... I lower my raised foot and drive my heel into Solitus' body. Having released the spear of the oracle, his body begins to plummet at full force. I fold in my own wings and dive after him and pursue it.
我が手に戻る。
The spear spinning through the air immediately teleports back into Solitus' hand. He then takes up a posture to counterattack me.
あ、いるか。何、少々素
Oh,
振りをして
he's
いた。
learning from everyone.
貸してやりたいところだが、お前の力ではまともに振るうことはできんだろう。
He's learned from everyone how to
お前の翼を生
fight.
かし、高所から重力を利用して振るえば、あるいは可能かもしれんな。
Yeah, you're not alone. I deploy a bright magic circle in my back. I roughly thrust my hand into it, and not arrows, but a far longer bladed weapon immediately takes form. I remove it as though swinging it down.
剣だと。
Bro, I'm interested in your song. Solitus' face turns to surprise, taking that chance. Yeah, boy! I drive the sword of light down, its power burning even my own palms. It's received, but I doubt even this would be enough to finish him. I just have one aim, to keep this man falling. As though saying I won't let him take flight, I keep putting strength into my arms and hold Solitus down further and further. However, the sword is immaterial, it's no match for a spear made by God, and quickly begins to crack, but I don't mind. The lowest floor is already right before my eyes.
俺の魔法が大雑把すぎていかがなものか。イルが細かすぎるだけな気もするけど、それにいざという時が訪れるかはわからないけど、イルだって追い詰められた時は計算なんて放り出して自爆覚悟で戦う覚悟が
You're telling someone who's based on calculations to abandon the calculations. Yeah, that's going to work out just fine. That's right, don't think calculations are unnecessary. Just act as you see fit. Something not from the record of any angel. What Kotone extended her hand to save. My own self who lived at Enchanté, using the personality that Eel built up. When a sword of light shatters, Solitus' spear is also knocked away. Aiming for that moment, I deploy another attack spell at my back. I press myself against Solitus and grip his body with force.
何よ。
My own body and his. Oh god! To Together with a full power bombardment of light, all are slammed into the tower's lowest floor. Bro! Together with Solitos, we tumble on the floor, groaning in pain.
神聖霊力炉より肉体修復用の霊力を
その権限を破壊します。
It would be a bad joke if he got refreshed, so he used the judgment program to sever his connection to the spirit furnace. Fortunately, being on the bottom, he took far more damage. It should have been enough to subdue him. Somehow, I get the strength in my arms to raise my body, and as I make a face straining in pain.
認めんあのような
Wait, if he's not connected to the program anymore, maybe he'll actually start thinking for himself now.
洗練さのかけらもない天使にお前にふさわしくない粗暴で無駄な戦術に敗北するなど
Likewise, he drags his arms and legs to rise up, and Solitos repeats his unacceptance as our gazes intersect.
あなたが私の大事な人を殺すと言った時点で戦い方になどこだわるつもりはありませんでした。
When my consciousness cleared up, I used my own spirit energy to close my wounds and slowly looked towards the heavens. The barrier floating in the air, seeing Kotorn inside and confirming her to be safe, I feel relieved. As promised, when I stand up to return to her, Solitos, much like when I fell into despair, starts desperately begging me to stop. His voice sounds weaker than ever before, and that cold light in his eyes is
行け
gone.
ばお前は神に返される殺される東古代の世界から消失するだから
Just like me, his will was controlled by God. The thing sealed away, Solitos' true.
行くななぜお前は東古代が追いかけるほどに逃げるのだ
Bro, come closer, bro. We're kissing now, bro. Don't stop!
なぜ伝わらない東古代は私はただお前という長年そばにいた友を
Bro!
失いたくなかっただけだというのに
My friend! The tune of emotions being born rings out. I see, so that's why. Why he didn't care about the means, why he was so stubborn about recovering me. The true reason was... he's in fucking love with you, bro. Several thousand years ago, from the time of our creation when neither of us had emotions.
断罪の使徒よこれより東古代とお前の本格的な運用が開始されるお前の隣に並べる個体は東古代のみ東古代の隣に並べる個体もまた故に共に神の領域としてこの世界の安寧を守護することを東古
Thinking back, even though I didn't possess the will to reply, despite understanding that, he always continued to talk to me.
現在確認できる罪人の全断罪を確認した新たな信託が降りるまで培養層にて活動を停止せよ断罪の使徒よその間のお前のメンテナンスは東古代自ら担当する案ずるな断罪の使徒仮に欠陥品や侵入者がこの先長く現れず何百何千年と東古代はお前のスペックを完璧に維持し
Bro.
その隣にあり続けるなぜなら東古代はお前の片翼なのだから
Why did I never realize this? Saying things like no need for concern. One would never say such a thing to someone truly considered to be a mere puppet.
気づいていますかソリティス、あなたの翼少しだけ黒ずんでいます神からの信託ももう聞こえないでしょういずれきっと私と同じく黒き翼が混じり始めるはず
It's likely that God had noticed Solita's emotion toward me, but twisted and manipulated him to use
あ
it.
なたが私に抱いたその執着は紛れもない
あ
感情
は
です。
はは。
あなたはずっとあなた自身が否定してきた感情によって私を追いかけていたのですよ。
That emotion he holds was taken advantage of. It's likely what people call friendship. Do they now? I'm sorry you two are stuck in a game that only offers straight relationships, but like The emotions that Solitas loses control of echo out through the tower. Then, after catching his breath, he mutters feebly,
殺せ。
"No,
追憶の下の仇を取るがいい。
no, dude, come to Earth with us. Live with us. We're one. We will live in a cottage, just as three."
私はまだ誰かを恨めるほど感情が育っていませんから。ソリツ、
I'm open.
私は確かにかつてあなたによって絶望しましたが、あなたが隣にいた間は少なくとも孤独ではなかった。
There's nothing more I can say. I stand up and flap my
さようなら。
wings.
あなたが正しく落ちることを願っています。
I soar to meet back up with Kotone. Despite knowing his unrest and grief, I cast it all aside and leave him. Yikes! Well, that's one way to
正しく落ちろだと。
tell someone off.
信託も持ち得ぬ私にはもはや何一つわからない。お前は私にどうしろというのだ。
Well, either you go to Earth and help the people on Earth fight, or you come up and help us kill God. But like, if you come up here to kill God, you'll most likely be absorbed by God. So, go to Earth. After settling things with Solitas, Eel dispels the barrier and picks me up again, and we fly towards the summit. Eel, Solitas.
彼ならばきっと大丈夫。私の相棒だった男です。
Oh, yeah.
それよりも急ぎましょう。戦いが予定よりも長引
I
きま
bet
し
he's
た。
going to sacrifice himself.
霊
Yeah.
袋の稼働時刻
Me
が
too.
迫っています。
He'd be like Eel is going to get absorbed because he has to reconnect with God again, and then Solitas will appear. So no, you can't sacrifice yourself. Take me instead. From there, nobody got in our way. Like a shooting star, Eel continues soaring straight up to the seat of God. We finally reach the summit and land before God's eyes, but the beautiful light floating in the sky feels abnormally cold. In the sky above is a giant wormhole. It's right up close. Matching the sounds from the pipe organ, the spirit furnace begins to glimmer divinely, as though seeking an offering for salvation. The wormhole is open. Don't tell me it already.
いいえ、まだ間に合います。霊力炉が完全起動する前に。
ほう、どう間に合わせるというのだ。
At the summit blessed by the light of the spirit furnace, the pipe organ bathed in a light, God asks Eel a question. However, Eel doesn't lose his composure and faces the opponent he intends to overthrow.
神よ、最後の忠告です。どうか考え直してはいただけませんか。あなたが掲げる救済は、かつてあなたが不要だと切り捨てた人間と同じ。いい
You
え、
know,
それ
this
以
is a
上の
man-made
傲慢な
God.
罪です。
ならぬ。このままでは
Like, humans made this god,
繁栄が
and then God was like, humans are not needed to keep this place safe, so he got rid of the humans.
そうです。ならば
Fun,
私が
right?
取る行動はただ一つ。
After God's unwavering intentions, this time Eel shows clear hostility. He sounds like an American
普
billionaire.
遍と安寧を否定はしません。 誰にでも失いたくないものや永遠に残したいものは存在するでしょう。ですがだからといって前に進みたいと思うものを切り捨てることを認めることはできない。故にあなたを撃つ。これが私の最後の断罪だ。
Yeah.
おお、私の前では指先一つ動か
You
せる
know
お
what would be
前
fun?
に
If
何
Kotone
が
had
で
a
きると
gun. This is, oh, what will you do? Like last time God placed a tune to make Eel submit. However,
何
due to Eel's judgment program, it's instantly neutralized.
個体番号オールゼロの生体コードスキャン
Ha ha.
解析を開始。断罪プログラムだと。あの小賢しい男の異物か。
God appears to recognize the existence of the virtuous scientist and shows a tone of unrest for the first time. Even our God has lost composure. The God that always had a cold voice and treated Eel as nothing more than a puppet. To him, the judgment program must be just that threatening. We can do it. At this rate, we can win. When I start to feel
理
confident,
解した。確かにそのプログラムを有するお前は私を破壊できる。しかしお前にはできまいよ。あれだけ無様に人形に戻りたくないとわめいていたお前にはな。
a sneering answer's returned which crushes that hope. What? Return to being a puppet? What does that mean? When I ask, trying to know more, Eel keeps his eyes averted and doesn't answer at all. The one to answer was the enemy we intended to defeat now.
理解していなかったか人間。断罪プログラムとは私を自戒させるためのもの。
I know that much. That's why he said he needs to temporarily merge his consciousness with yours.
意識の同一化というのは神へ自戒を作用させるための一時
You're
的な
lying.
ものですからもともと肉体も分離していますし私に何ら影響はありませんよ。
But Eel himself said it would be fine. Yeah, and Kotone, you know... yeah.
その認識の誤りを指摘する。一時的では不十分だ。求められるの
Like, not
は
that I don't
完
love
全な
them,
る
but
同一化。
these guys never tell us the truth.
さらに言えば同一化の真の条件は意識だけではなく断罪の使徒の存在そのもの、すなわち入れ物たる肉体以外の感情、意志、その存在たる
I knew it!
魂。
Let out a hoarse breath. What that means, the true
理解
meaning.
したか人間。
I have a
事実
name.
上一心となった私を破壊すれば断罪の使徒はその魂ごと砕け散り生命正真正銘の壊れた人形と化す。あの時のような奇跡は二度と叶わぬと知れ。
In mere moments, my hope is completely repainted into despair. Eel, this is a lie, right? What God's saying, everything. After all, back at that time, you said it would be okay. I immediately seek an answer from him, but...
嘘をついて
Wow, who would have fucking guessed?
The words he offered me were no comfort nor lie, but simply straightforward, as if that were the only way. They were words of despair. Then, if he destroys God, Eel will... Why? You finally regained your emotions. You were finally supposed to be free.
このままでは霊力炉が稼働し何もかもが終わってしまうのです。あなたの世界があなたのアンシャンテが私が帰るべきアンシャンテが
He says it's a place for him to go home to, but that won't be possible. Eel simply gazes up at God in silence.
揺るがぬか。だが同一化し断罪プログラムを起動させたとして私の破壊に用いる力を そのプログラムにて行えるのはあくまで私の破壊権限を得る。だとして私を破壊するには圧倒的に霊力が足らぬであろう。当然逆賊に霊力炉を使用する権限などあるはずもない。
そんなことは承知の上です。しかし神よ、やはりあなたは傲慢だ。かつてあなたを生み出した強欲な権力者たちと同じように。どうして今まで自分の体同然に利用してきた霊力炉の中身を把握していなかったのか。
Oh?
何？
Il quietly speaks in an admonishing way.
この塔の研究室に保管されるサーバーミカエル。
A server that stores memory data for angels born in Cam regardless of past or present. In the human world, it is said to be the name of a certain angel.
生き死にに関わらず、この世すべての天使の記録、いいえ、記憶を保管する膨大な精神領域。
おめでとう。
What?
それに触れたとき、私はとある事実を知りました。我ら天使は元をたどれば祖は人間、故に魂があり、だからこそ感情が芽生え、打点する。死して体を失い、霊力炉に返されたとしても、その事実は変わらん。あなたと私が今まで奪ってきた天使の命が、魂が、あの霊力炉の中には残っている。
え？
確かにあなたは霊力炉の機能すべてを掌握しているのでしょうが、まさかそこに宿る幾千幾万の魂を操る術までは有していないでしょう。彼らが自発的に私へ霊力を供給してくれるならば、私はあなたを破
Couldn't
壊
you
でき
just
る。
set them free? Wouldn't that be easier?
魂が霊力炉に残る。バカな、そんなことが。
神よ、再三望まれていた通り、この身をあなたに返しましょう。私が下す最後の断罪とともに。
Medil shouts loudly, light much like fireworks erupts from his body. The merger with God, as though displaying its beginning, the wings on his back turn to pure white. This overly beautiful spectacle is hope for the world and despair for me. I'm sure he won't stop now. There's no way he can stop. After all, Il found the determination and came all the way here. That's why. All I can do is cling to his body in a pathetic way. You said that there are lots of things you want to do with me, that you want to do more chorus, that you want to visit my hometown. Me too, a future with you, I want to be with you more. My feelings overflow and I can't hide them from him. His voice chokes up slightly, but that hesitation turns to a smile. Wait, yeah, no, wait, hold on. Before you have your tearful, well, what's the, not reunion, but the opposite of that. If all souls remain in the spirit furnace, why won't Eel's soul remain in there? You can just take him back after, or something, maybe.
ことね。できるなら私もあなたと光ある未来を。
Okay, he's going all self-sacrificing mode, but if all the souls are in there, his will also be
手放したくない。壊れた人形になど
back.
なりたくない。
No?
あなたと共にもっともっといろんな感情を学んで生きたかった。ですがその生きる場所が私たちの大切な思い出の世界
The
が
song slaps.
このままでは失われるのです。だからどうかこれ以上は引き止めないで、最後ぐらいは男らしく格好をつけてあなたにこの姿を記憶に焼き付けてもらいたいのです。
With a gentle voice, Eel steps further ahead. Then, as though shaking off all lingering attachments, he takes a big breath and raises his head.
炉の内に返された同胞たちよ、 私の罪たちよ、今すぐその瞳を開け。
With emotion offering up his soul to God, he shouts
断
loudly.
罪者たる私が権限を持ってその眠りを破壊する。そして神の一部として許可する。思考せよ。何が正しく何が間違っているのか。神に味方するもよし、私に味方するもよし、ミカエルのうちにて私の心に触れ、その胸に説明できない何かが生まれたのならば強制はしない。その感情に従い行動せよ。
やめろ。
God's control doesn't make it in time. The spirit furnace floating in the sky temporarily stops its absorption actions. It begins to pulsate. From there, without God's command, countless bits of light fall like snow. Each one has a will, a soul.
皇帝、断罪の天使よ。その発言の意味を完全に理解することはできないが、その叫びとともにこの胸に宿った温度に準じ、あなたへの火星を選択する。
Some ally themselves with eel.
僕を顔色一つ変えずに殺したお前に手なんて貸せるものかよ。
Some give themselves to God. As more and more light falls onto Eel's body.
ならば霊力が満ちる前に貴様を破壊すればよいだけのこと。
Without waiting for the angels to finish, God decides to eliminate Eel. Just like when he was being controlled, giant circles of light stack onto each other and collect the
大
falling
規
light.
模破壊術式第2位ケルビムを
Hey, yo!
発動。
Due to the merger and focusing on absorbing spirit energy, Eel can't counteract or defend himself. After a span of only seconds, the arrogant light of God's wrath faces
標
us.
準固定。私自らこの愚かなる人形もどきに断罪を。
Solitude's entrance in 3, 2, 1. Start interrupting that.
させるものか。
I'm God! Like saying he won't let his friends die. A life in sacrifice, an angel full of song. The spear of the oracle slunk into the air. The desperate throw crashes into God's strike. With the recoil, the intruder from the tower Solitus is blown away, but disregards this and shouts.
今こそ断罪を、神殺しを成し遂げよ。我が友イルファドデリエ。
He actually calls us by his name! No! Still responding to his shout. Gently, the last grain. No, 2 grains of red and blue spirit energy fall onto Eel's body.
友よ、
No!
私たちの魂でよければいくらでもあなたの背中を押すわ。
No! Why would you do that? Taking them onto his palms as though embracing them, Eel takes them into his body, then...
やめろ。私はまだこの安寧を、普遍を、権力を手放すつもりなど。
God's decree finally reveals his true nature. Ignoring the begging, Eel declares,
霊力の吸収を完了。破壊術式第1位セラフィンも私の専用術式として再構築する。
The strongest of attack spells that is said to hold power sufficient to destroy the sun. While it normally takes a different shape, Eel reformed it into a bow and arrow to use it against God. In the human world, this term is coined to a class of high-ranking angels. Light gathers. To end everything, light to take the person I cherish away. No! Why would you do that? A shining bow and arrow, it appears into Eel's hands and he draws it aimed at God's center. The merger with God progresses as emotions vanish from his eyes. Overflowing light gathers into the arrow's tip. I'm sure when it all gathers there, the approaching end will be. No matter what reasons I'm told, there's no way that I can accept it. Do I want to cling to him or do I want to support him? Even I don't know. All I do is desperately embrace his body. but Eel is losing the ability to even understand the meaning of my trembling. Ah! No!
感情を手放すという体はここにあるのに、まるで自分が砂のように崩れ。
But yet he continues despite the noise in his voice.
考えれば失うことを惜しいと恐ろしいと思えるほどに大切なものが私のうちに生まれたということ。それは間違いなくあなたとあなたのいるアンシャンテで、だからそれを無駄に。
Hey, yo, listen. This is your happy ending. You don't get to sacrifice yourself. No, the light in his eyes. His hardest emotions that he finally reclaimed are disappearing. He's turning empty.
そろそろですかね。怖いとは何だったか、辛いとは何だったか、もうそれさえ思い。
Yeah, that sound is horrible in my ears, by the way. Well, all I can do is grieve at the unfair fate before my eyes.
ことね、私は笑っていますか？
I guess you are, yes. A somewhat gentle voice drops. Huh? When I look up, Eel is desperately using his broken emotions to give me a smile.
私はあなたが好きだと言ってくれた笑顔で晴れていますか？いるなら最後の瞬間までそのままで。
Strength leaves Eel's knees, but I quickly support him. Ah, this is no good. No matter how he arranges his words, his will is unchanged. And I came to like that honest and straightforward Eel. I can't deny that. In that case, at least. It's okay, Eel. Your smile is really beautiful. With a pathetically shaking voice that even I want to laugh at, I answer. Then I shut my eyelids tight, to force the tears blurring my sight to fall out, to burn his smiling face into my eyes. Ah! No! Drops flow from Eel's eyes as well.
やはり感情とは不思議。悲しみ以外の理由で涙を流せるものなのか。
No, baby. 壊れる前にこの涙とあなたとの記憶とともに言葉にならない最後に残ったこの感情。 I would like to have a talk with whoever decided that making it this noise was a good idea. Already, he probably lost self-awareness, but Eel's voice desperately stringing words together are brimming with happiness.
こと目の約束を今私ですね。最後にあなたへ伝えたい言葉が。
Promise. Alright. Eel finally reached it, what he promised to declare back then, the signal for our parting, not emotion. But I was the one who made him promise wanting to teach him, so I won't say anything selfish anymore and accept his words straight on. Okay, I said I would wait after all. Tell me, Eel, with that smiling voice I like so much. Eel makes a small nod at my words, narrows his eyes with fading light.
生まれ落ちてあなたに出会えて。
That was his last song. His fingers fall limp with no strength. The bow of judgment is released. The grand body of God shatters into shards of metal, and at that time, all of heavenly world calm is engulfed in a gentle light. Are you kidding me? you kidding me? I can't let the ending song play because I get hit with copyright. Oh, why am I hearing water? What? Yeah? Excuse me? I feel it. I want to see. Eh? What's happening? Hello? Oh, so now we find his letter. Are you— No! To my cherished Kotona, if you're reading this letter, then everything must have ended as we hoped. Please forgive me for explaining everything to you much after the fact. However, I simply couldn't bear to reveal what would happen to me to you beforehand. If I did, in the end, I wouldn't want to leave your side, and I would betray my determination to oppose perpetuity. After slaying God, I will likely enter a state near death, barely something that can be called alive. However, if by chance, if of my shattered soul by some miracle even the smallest fragment remains, Kotone, at that time once more. What? Once more what? Hey, yo! The letter cuts off there. After all this time, I happened to visit his room to clean up, but to think I'd find something like this. We didn't continue with the month gone by in the café. You're right! It was shoved in the back of the shelf as if to hide it, so I assumed Eel hadn't wanted it to be found. He must have written it to steal his determination or to caution himself. Eel, even to the very end you're unfair. 1 year— 1 year! I'm sorry. 1 year? Alright, okay. 1 year passed since he exchanged his soul to put an end to God's Salvation Initiative. With God slain, Calm was flung into a state of chaos. God, who had been the supreme ruler, has now disappeared, so that's only natural. In particular, the confusion of normal angels who suddenly sprouted emotions with God's death was monumental. Right now, Solitos with Epilogi is the representative of fallen angels and others keep all of them in order. A world entirely dependent on God until now will likely take a long time to truly become self-reliant. During this, after slaying God, Eel's emotions and soul were shattered. And afterwards, exactly as God said, this time in the truest sense, he's no more than a broken puppet lying strewn out and collapsed. With no strength, he cannot stand or sit or even raise his head on his own. In fact, he doesn't even breathe. I can't hear his heartbeat. The key that saved him before, the memory server Michael, Michael, in the tower broke along with the destruction of God. With the faintest hope, we all tried taking Eel to see Titania, but I can no longer see Eel's mind, she said, and could do nothing but sadly shake her head. In other words, that means his soul has been completely lost. Of course, in such a state, Eel can't live any sort of decent life in the human world or Enchanté. So at present, he quietly sleeps alone in the nourishing tank in the tower facility, at least trying to restore his bodily functions. But even that is nothing more than a blind shot. Is it? Never again will a miracle like that occur. Are you sure? When God told me that back then turns to sadness and shakes my heart. What? What are you trying to tell me? To hold back what's trying to fill my eyes, I bite my lip. I need to open a shop soon. Simply grieving won't change anything. If he was going to return, it would have happened already. There's only one thing I can do. I need to work harder as the owner. Enchanté, I need to protect the place he protected. At the same time, at the summit of the tower at the center of Calm, Solitos gazes at God's hollowed body with mixed feelings. While the slaying of God completely shattered the mechanical body, at Solito's discretion he ordered that at least the outer shell should be repaired to a minimum. Of course he had no desire to restore God, he simply wished that no one could ever exert a will for domination. Wait. He simply wished that no one could ever exert a will for domination is allowed on Kaum. It is to remain as a symbol of warning. How many times have I repeated this line? As Solitus thinks this to himself, the presence of a familiar man appears at his back.
Yo, Solitus. 姿が見えねえと思ったら、やっぱここにいたか。
You know what? I'm just gonna ship these two. Out of spite.
お前は暇さえありゃここで黄昏れてんな。
They have a love-hate relationship with each other. Fallen angel, Epilogue is a strange man. We were once enemies, yet he speaks to me so casually, is what Solitus still thinks. However, he understands it's because of that personality that he's been able to prevent a fallen angel uprising to this day.
I
wonder, we don't actually know how Epilogue fell. Like, we only met him when he was already fallen, and like he has to be someone who at least at some point was really important. Like he has several wings, unlike the other fallen angels who only have one pair of wings and stuff. But they won't ever explain it to us, apparently. The wings on Solitus' back in the end never turned a fallen color and remained pure white. While he understands this is due to God being slain before he completely fell, he believes his wings are the evidence of his sins. Every time he catches sight of his wings, he says this to himself. Wait! No! You guys don't need God. Especially not someone empty. Just to sit there as God. I don't want to speak more on the subject. Following his own heart saying this, Solitus decides to change the subject. Oh no. Wait. They're gonna walk in there, see the broken glass shattered, and Eel's just nowhere to be found, and all hell will break loose in heaven. Saying this to Epilogue, Solitus heads to the nourishing tank where he sleeps. However, inside the nourishing tank where he should be, it was empty. Looking at the floor, there seemed to be shards of the broken nourishing tank. Uh-oh.
あいつが自分で動けるはずがねえし、もしかしてあいつを神に担ぎ上げようとしてる連中にさらわれでもってうだうだ考えても仕方ねえ。すぐさまカエル矛盾を。
その必要はない。
Epilogue looked like he'd fly off at any second, but Solitus stops him. The shards on the floor are from inside towards the outside. After seeing them strewn like this, he already had a guess.
我らへの手紙に残されていただろう。もし自分に魂が一かけらでも残っていたのなら。
まさか。けどよ、仮にそうだとしても感情は。
確かに完全に失われているだろう。だが忘れたのか。彼が感情を捨てたのも、感情を取り戻したのも、そのすべては淡き琴音のためだ。
In that case,
彼に一から感情を生み出すのもまた。
He told us he would fall, if it's for us, he would fall over and over. No matter how many times it takes. Oh, baby. It was like any other day at Café Enchanté. Several hours later, the customers order coffee and snacks depending on their mood and relax around this time. Unusually today, all of the regulars had been around since morning. No, all of them but one.
あれからちょうど今日で1年か。区切りがいいせいか。
Well,
時の異常気象。展開が開けた
you know, Kotone, you told him you would wait. 1 year is nothing. I have read 2 books and like, no, 3 books by the same author, and like in the first one they wrote, it was also 1 year that the other person had to wait. And in the next one it was 13 years, and in the last one it was, I forget, but like 100 and something years they had to wait. No, 800 years until the other person would come back. So 1 year is nothing, Kotone. Nothing.
規模が規模だったからね。避難勧告まで出してたし、完全には情報を消しきれないよ。
イルはまだ向こうで眠り続けているのだろうな。
For a moment, Kana sends a consoling look in my direction, but as though saying I don't mind, I wave my hand and smile. When everyone talks about eel with consideration, that makes me far sadder.
展開からの連絡がないということ。
Is that? Can you say that?
未だ
Sad,
変化がない
sadder, the saddest? Yeah, I guess.
バカだよな。たったの3日だぞ。そんだけしか本当の意味で自由や心を得られなかったってのには、それっぽっちで満足して俺らに黙って勝手にあんな終わり方を決めやがって。そうだね。彼の人生はあまりに自由がなさすぎだ。
I can't fucking wait for him to just stand in the door frame like, Hi!
それだけ。イルにとってはこのアンシャンテで得たものが。
Once again, who mixed your voices? I can barely hear you over the music. You miss me, losers? Mom said it's my turn on the Xbox. If that's true, I'd be happy. But among that, not having you here too makes me just sad, Eel. Luckily, nobody heard me say that to myself. Afterwards, a while later, in another coincidence, everyone had some business to attend to. Window heads to GPM, everyone else needs to go back to their own worlds for a time. To see of today's last guest, Misha is stand in front of the gate.
今日も美味しいコーヒーごちそうさま。
Thanks, I'll be awaiting your visit tomorrow too. Misha grabs the doorknob and goes to open the door, but... he says and stops for a moment.
そういえば今日、裏庭にシーツ干してなかった？今日、夕方から雨だったと思うけど。
You think you'll just stand there? Oh, that's right. Thanks for reminding me, Misha. Alright, I go right now.
裏庭にシーツか。あの時の話を思い出しちゃうな。あの場所とこの店がある限り、君と彼女の思い出が色あせることはない。
Where is he? Show me him. I want to see him. Come on. Come on. Come on, come on. After hurrying into the backyard, I quickly start taking down the sheets. Alright then. The sheets used in my room are small, so I finished those really easily, but... Whoa! The sheets used in the other rooms are a lot bigger. They're rather hard to handle. I struggle and manage to carry one inside, but there's still a lot more. This always reminds me of... That certainly isn't a sad memory. It was a fun, beautiful memory. I remember back about that day. I feel like even now I could hear a singing voice. I smile and go to continue my work. A strong wing blows! And the sheets blocking my view ahead flutter. In that moment, I see a gap between floating white curtains. It has to be an illusion. Huh? I begin to make out the illusion, as though it could fall over at any moment. With staggering steps, it begins to walk toward me. The white cloth, as though making way for him, flutters open widely once again. Baby! Before my eyes, he with white wings on his back stands quietly. Is this not an illusion? Then why? How? Those questions due to my shock do not form into words. Eel! He simply continues to stare at my face with eyes that have lost their light. Several seconds pass, tens of seconds pass, then he speaks. What I wanted to hear for so long, his clear, beautiful voice, but that single line tells me the reality that have been lost from his mind. However, I'm the owner of Enchanté here, Kotone Awaki. Feeling that him simply standing here is more than enough, I say my name with a smile. It's okay, we'll just have to regain it. We have all the time in the world. When I said my name with a smile, he closes the distance more and stares intently at my face. Then, it really was slowly, gradually his eyes. The light returns. That's because deep in my chest part of me begs to scream, but all I can do unable to control my overflowing heated emotions. Most likely, you had the same feelings as me. Much like Eel awkwardly, I can only answer in a somewhat childlike way. At my answer, Eel tilts his head in a puzzled way.
あなたと言葉を交わすたびにこの胸に生まれる苦しくてでも手放したくないと思ってしまうこんな痛みを
Yeah, and now I can finally answer your confession. Eel, I like you. I love you too. With a gentle tone of wind. What? My confession reaches him. Right after knowing that, his absent-minded eyes sway greatly.
私は何もかもがあやふやで自分のこともろくにわからないですがたった今一つだけ思い出しましたこの感情に従い何をすべきなのかを
Oh yeah, baby! Woo! He gently draws me in close. I don't resist and our lips touch. It was different from the nervous kiss that night. As though confirming my existence, a kiss seeking all over me. Yeah! Yeah! There it is! As Eel opens his heart, I see a light in his eyes. The tone of his voice all returns. That's one powerful kiss. As the letter he left before said, remaining in his body, a single shout of his soul does its best to gather up his scattered heart.
嫌だったんだあなたに抱いたこの感情の呼び名と告げるべき言葉を私は覚えていますイエーイことね私は愛してあなたを愛しています
Yes. Me too. I do too. I love you. Filled with only this emotion, our lips touch once again. I want to make sure that this miracle of him having returned isn't just an illusion. The pulsing of his life, almost as though biting into it. Then his wings begin to mix with black. That's right, the angel who fell to despair before has this time fallen in love. Aww. Yes! 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 Which means the song is going to get, broken up. for our last prologue. Wind brushes the infinite colorless world like a breath. When he leaves, I'll be alone again, and if he returns, I'm certain all I would have for him is apathy. Yes. That's right. This is unfair. What? What? Huh? What the fuck? Hydrate time! Yeah. Oh my god, what? Ahahaha. Ahaha. Aha. Well, let's go. Let's go find out what Misha has going on, right? He has more than 4 chapters in his own route, so his route is going to be long. Fuck yeah, finally. Wind brushes the infinite colors world like a breath. When he leaves, I'll be alone again, and if he returns, I'm certain all I would have for him is apathy. Yes, that's right. This is unfair. If he was saved, I should have been saved as well. That's why I continued to hope, and I kept reaching out. If I can't reach it now, I just need to reach out further. Then little by little, the hand I've reached out with, it will at last reach her. Hi.
やっと見つけた。
Oh, that's not the voice I was expecting. It's a very calm voice. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy, howdy. That was a trip. I've had a save exactly in this place for a long while. Because there is a bad ending for keeping it closed, obviously. But we don't care about the bad endings in this game. We only want the happy ones. Like, I don't know. I do play bad endings in games if they give me like CGs or more story or whatever. I do not like them very much because I like my stuff with happy endings. No, you will give me a copyright problem. We can go and play the bad endings for the routes once we are finished with the full game if any of you are interested. But personally, as far as I'm aware, they don't give us anything. Except pain. So, who are these people in the first place? What? Oh, well, that didn't change a lot. Right. Now it's back to getting through all of these choices once again. But this time we shall finally find out who's trying to kill us. Hopefully. Well, not hopefully kill us, but hopefully find out who's trying to do. But you know what I mean. Oh man. Misha is from the demon world. My guess is that demon world is nothing like he explained it one time. But the demon world is just that empty... Man, I don't fucking know. That really empty space we keep seeing in the prologue. And for some reason, both him and that other guy are in there. and Misha got out, but the other guy didn't. And either Misha forgot about him, or Misha is like, well, I cannot save you, so I won't try. And that guy is trying to reach us. Like, this is the one scene with the hand we have. And I am guessing that's also why the wormholes keep showing up in all the worlds, like even in, like we found out in the Earth's Root, even in the Heavenly World camp, where they shouldn't be. And that's also the guy who was behind the attack on Amazaki Island, because Misha said, he said, I don't remember what it was exactly, but he said something like, oh, it's you. You won't reach us like this. I don't know. It's been so long. I mean, technically we see the scene all time and time again, but I don't read it because I have it on speed. The one thing that I was apparently really wrong about, because so far none of the roots have said anything in regards to that. I don't think Kotone is completely human. I refuse to believe that. Same with her grandpa. Because we met all of these guys when we were younger, we just don't remember. And like, we still don't know how her grandpa even got this cafe. Why is the door there? Also, now that we found now that we know there's this ark, this giant boat thingy in the heavenly world that was apparently there years, thousands of years ago. Because heavenly world was made by human technology. Who made them? Hello? It doesn't add up. And so far this game has been very good with its world building, that they actually take the time and explain like background information about the worlds to some extent. But I fear that they will not tell us everything. Like, this is the last route. This is going to be Misha's route. There won't be any more after this. Like, if they only explain it in Misha's route how this all came to be, then I'm gonna be so fucking mad. I need to know. I need to know. Sit in front of me. I'm not sure how far we will get. Well, a little at least. We have... It's going to take us a while until we get there. The law's not fully there yet, but you have ideas. Yeah! I am still completely unspoiled on this game. For one, because it's not that easy to find information on it. I tried once, like just to see. Like there's no wiki pages. There's not even a TV tropes entry that you could spoil yourself on. When quite a lot of Otome games have TV tropes pages. Or like a lot of visual novels have them. Because there's always some people out there who take the time and do that. And obviously I didn't look further into it. Like I want to experience this myself, but like I want to know how right or wrong I am. Like, it's killing me. The suspense is killing me. Like, obviously none of us know the truth. But if someone was watching that has played the game already and knew everything, they would sit there like, ha ha, oh my god, Nua, you're going to be so surprised when you get there. Like, ha. Because like for the first 3 routes, we pretty much called them. Like Vania tried to sacrifice us to some extent to save Titania, and then Dromi was the bad guy in Ignis's route. Oh wait, it's actually a text we haven't read yet. It was excellent simply because I had a good teacher. Of course the teacher was Mishi. I tried to learn how to brew coffee on my own, but when it comes to the basics of pouring a cup, I make mistakes and forget things, likely because I begin to feel so panicked. I guess it's important no matter what you're working on to have a little guidance from someone. I should have had you teach me from the very beginning.
それはどうだろう。何事も失敗の積み重ねで上達していくものなんだから。でも先生か。いいね。頼られてるって感じがするし。
Now I'm embarrassed for calling you that. And then in... Oh wait, who was next? Who was after Ignis? Oh, Rindo. And then in Rindo's route... Well, I mean, Mikado was kind of obvious. I have learned how to mute myself in time. Amma was vibing in his and most of his body hanging out like, bro, how's that comfy? I feel it. Aha! It's a new option. Alright, Mishi was saying he would be in charge of drinks. I was sure he would be by the table preparing lots of delicious coffees. Wait, you're the owner of the cafe. With that assumption, I headed down to the cafe, however... Huh? He's not here. Maybe he went to the convenience store to get drinks other than coffee?
どうしたことね。何か気になることでも。
Yeah, where's my guy? I turned towards the voice that called to me to find Kane standing there carrying a large amount of items. He did say he was in charge of snacks. I'm sure he was on his way back from a trip to the store for ingredients. I came to see how Misha was doing, but I don't see him anywhere.
ミシェルならば先ほどゲートの方へ歩いていた。
Right! We still need to find out why he has to go back before midnight. The gate.
我もどうしたのかと気になりはしたのだが、魔界の方で何かあったのかもしれん。最近のミシェルはあの部屋の様子を見に行くことが多い。
I see. Thanks for letting me know, Canis. Canis assured me it was no trouble and began heading to the kitchen. I wonder if Misha's still standing in front of the gate right now. Maybe I should take over the drinks if this is a bad time for him. It's closed. Why is it closed? That in mind, I stepped into a room I hadn't visited in a while with the gate inside it. There was Misha gazing at the plate hanging on the gate, the one I read closed. His head was tilted, he looked puzzled, though it seemed like he wasn't intending on heading back into the demon world. Misha?
おう、君か。何も言わずに持ち場を離れて心配かけちゃったかな。
You sure did. Well, that's okay. Something wrong with the gate?
いや、何もないよ。何もないはずなんだけど。なんかさっきこの部屋の前を通りかかった時に妙な物音が聞こえた気がして。
We don't like strange noises. Misha fell silent, staring back at the gate. I began to stare as well, but I couldn't see anything wrong with it. The plate read closed. I believe that means no one could have come in from an outside world. I'm sure he had thought the same thing. With that, the expression on Misha's face began to fade quickly.
ま、気のせいか。店の方に戻ろうか、ことね。サボって多分遅れを取り戻さないと。
Anytime characters in video games or movies shrug off something as, oh, must have been my imagination, it turns out to be something horrible. Would you like a hand? I mean, you're up for pouring coffee, right? I'd like to learn a little more from you.
それは嬉しい提案。ともかくまずはコンビニかな。 ジュースの類を揃えないとね。
Why wouldn't one person go for both the snacks and the drinks? We leave the gate to our bags, smiling as we exit the room. To be sure, I glanced back at the gate. Relieved knowing there was nothing there, I closed the door without hesitation. Okay, that's not suspicious at all. It's just a door, it can't hurt you, the door in question. Yeah, your demon world still sounds like it's straight from a game and not real. And considering that we already had an angel that just took his entire personality from a game, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that you are lying. Bam, bam, ba-da-bam. But we don't. Do we have any other NPC characters that still haven't had the chance to shine? No, right? Karia was there in Kano's route mostly. Kororo was there in Ignis's route. Mikado had everything happen in Rino's route, and the assistant, who turned out to be Solitus, was there in Eel's route, right? So we don't have any NPCs, existing NPCs that are still out to get blood that we already know or have seen before. I'm just trying to figure out if maybe whoever is trying to kill us might actually exist in our world already, or is going to be someone completely different that we actually haven't seen. I'm not sure which I would prefer. You know what they never mention again? The friend who was almost abducted by angels in Eel's route. The last thing we heard about her is, oh yeah, she's in a hospital now. Bitch! I mean, I forgot about her until now, but I just remembered her. In the end, totally drained of all happiness, Vinia begins walking away listlessly. What? Wait, why? How is this a different text? We already used the don't follow Vinia thingy in another route. Hello? Very tiny changes. Very tiny changes in my game. Ho, 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 ho. Alrighty. Titania's still really beautiful. Dun, 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 dun. Still kind of sad that Canis didn't get a kiss CG. So what if he can't see his head? He does have one. They repeatedly say that he does have a head. It's just that we cannot touch it. But he could kiss us if he has a head. We just wouldn't be able to feel it, but he would feel. I don't think they really thought that through. Like, if he has a head, but we cannot touch it and can't feel it, but he can feel it, right? How would that even work? Ah! Ah! No, literally no one cares. Okay. Ah, the one scene where we see Rindo without the jacket. You are baby. Yee. I think the game, due to this being in skipping, I think they skipped. Or maybe I blinked in 1 second that the CG with Rindo and Karia was on screen because I didn't see it. Hi! It's so funny seeing all the characters again. I wonder how much Dromi will show up in Mishia's route. He did show up a little during Eels. But like in the end we don't really oh, never mind, the CG is only happening right now. That's why. In the end, the characters, like Karia's always there. He doesn't have a bigger plot point. He's existing. Vinia doesn't show up outside of Canis' route at all. Korodo shows up everywhere. Used to what? Wow, those single line changes are really weird to see. Okay, I'll take it. Solitus does show up, but never as Solitus, just as the assistant sometimes. Domi will probably just pop up something world changes happening and yeah. It's just like, hey, I saw you guys having trouble, what's going on? And then he'll just fuck off again. I still think it would be interesting if the happenings of each of the routes would happen after each other. Like, we would destroy Yggdrasil and free Titania, which means we could take Titania with us to the Ignis fight. When Dromi turns him into that giant wolf, then we save Ignis from losing his mind, but he can access that power. Then we go to Rindo's route, which will play out just the same. Probably there's nothing really life-changing there. Or maybe, I don't know, Titania would have some kind of ability to actually change the sister back. That would be cool. And then we also we would have Mikado and I forgot her name, but like the sister who is really intelligent. Maybe she would stay as a non-human, but like she'd get her personality back. And then we would go to Eel's route, which is like, oh yay, well we're fighting God. Okay, fine, we fight God, and then he comes back, and everything. Mishia's route with the help of really strong characters like Titania, Vinia, all the fairies, then Ignis with access to the wolf power, an entire army of angels and fallen angels, the entire angel world. Rindu, who is now a non-human, like halfway to a non-human, who also has these funky powers, and his sister Mikado, who is still alive, who is very intelligent, who can probably do some funky science business. I haven't even finished the game and I'm writing alternate universe stuff here. It's just I'm not the biggest fan of like, so far I guess each of these routes is just okay, that's the world if you go this route, so that's fine. But if Mishia's route ends up being one, like, if it's just about him, okay, but his route is kind of like a true route. At least it seems like it so far, but none of the other stuff is from the other routes is happening. Because in what I'm trying to say is this: in Code Realize, you also have 5 guys, and each of them has problems. And in their own routes, you always just fix the problem the guy you're dating has. But then for the last guy, it's a true route. I need to finish that thought before we read this. Hold on. And it's a true route, and you fix all of their problems, just without the dating part, and date the last guy. Which on one hand kind of invalidates their own routes, but on the other hand, if you fix all of them, that's also great, but you only date one of them in the end. And I'm not sure which I would prefer here. A world where we fix everything and then go on to date Mishia, or just Mishia, and each route is just its own universe, I guess. I've read most of the books I have here. I have time though, maybe I reread one. Rereading books because you've read all of your books couldn't be me. I reread my books even though I have a bunch of books I still have to read. With that thought, I tried pulling out a handful of books. But I still remember what's in all of these. I was looking through the books on the shelf when I heard a soft knock on the door. Yes, come in?
Yeah, ことね。ってあれ、読書の邪魔をしちゃったかな。
Oh no, not at all. I was thinking of reading a book, but I've read everything here. I was just wondering what I should do.
これだけの量を全部君も結構読書家なんだね。
Bookworm too. Alright, you're usually reading a book when you're having your coffee, huh?
だね。俺は文庫本が中心だけど、気分次第では一日中本を読んでることもあるかな。
Man, I wish I could read the entire day.
あ、じゃあ提案。読む本がなくて困ってるっていうなら、
No job, just
俺と一
reading.
緒に探しに行かない？
Getting paid for reading. The 3 routes of first for many, right? Fixing them would be great. All of them. Not just one. Misha took me to a place I'd never been, a used bookstore in the shopping district. It looked nostalgic and smelled of old paper. It wasn't a big store by any means, but it held a great many books. My heart started racing looking at this wall stacked high with words. I never knew a used bookstore was here. A lot of people have digital books now, but I always prefer the feel of paper. I feel it. I like reading digital books because it's easier on your hands and eyes. But I like displaying books and the feel of a real book in my hands as well.
ことね。せっかくだし、それぞれ好きな本を探して持ち寄ろう。
I want to go into a bookstore so bad, but everything is closed because of Rona. Which is fair, but like... yeah. At Misha's suggestion, I headed straight for the shelf with any and everything related to mythological stories. Grandma's books had an influence on me. Recently I've been completely engrossed by this genre. Oh, this book was sold out online, and this one was so expensive that I held off on buying it. Who knew it'd be so cheap? It was a mountain of treasure to me. Caught in the moment, I continued picking... Yeah, wait, I didn't read that. Picking up book after book then. Hehe. After buying the ones that interested us, we went right back to Enchanté. That's me. I go out with friends, and they're like, okay, I buy 1 or maybe 2 books, and I'm standing next to them with like 15 to 20 books in my arms, like, haha, 1 or 2, huh? Yeah. Their treasures were piled high upon the table. Maybe we went a little overboard. It's not like we can read it all right now. I moved the pile of books to the side and sit across from Michia. She likes fantasy books, but she has several mythological creatures in her cafe now. Yeah, Mina read all sorts of things, but I always come back to these. Oh, and the books you read, Michia, are mystery novels, right? Oh.
歴史に名を残す名作の方が趣味に合うかな。
I mean, he has probably read a bunch of books then. He's been around for thousands of years, right?
アーサー・コナン・ドイル作のシャーロック・ホームズシリーズとかね。
World famous detective novels written by Arthur Conan Doyle. They tell of the activities of the great detective Holmes and his assistant Dr. Watson. Yeah, someone at Automate likes Sherlock Holmes a lot. You could, in Code Realize, in one of the fan discs, in the first or the second, I haven't played the second yet. In the first fan disc, the character Sherlock Holmes, because yes, there's a Sherlock Holmes. It's the literal Sherlock Holmes in Code Realize. You could date him. They gave him a root in the fan disc. Because you know who you can date in Code Realize? Lupin, Victor Frankenstein, what's his name? That vampire slayer dude? Van Helsing? And other such people. So yeah, Sherlock Holmes. You can also date Sherlock Holmes, because why not? Why fucking not? You also meet the Queen, Queen Elizabeth III, in that game, so... If it wasn't yet another really long Otome game, and if I hadn't already played it like 3 times, I would play it again. Just to show it off, because it's so fun. The great detective Sherlock Holmes and his partner John H. Watson. They even took... You know who... Those... Those assets they use in this picture, those are the sprites from Code Realize. Someone reused assets for this picture. Those are not new. The stories revolve around the pair solving all sorts of crimes and mysteries. And even Maurice Leblanc, the author of the series of A Gentlemanly Thief Lupin, popular novels written by French author Maurice Leblanc about the activities of the gentleman thief Arsène Lupin. He had Holmes appear in his works, which was a big deal at the time. That's also for Code Realize. James Moriarty. Yeah, Moriarty shows up in a game as well. That's his sprite. Hello?
彼いいよね。計算高さと狡猾さ。彼が実在するなら、あるいは別の世界にいるとしたら、ぜひ魔王軍の参謀にスカウトしたい。
Hey, Automate, you're reusing. I hope you rethink that idea. He's already an insanely powerful demon lord. He'd be unstoppable if he did that.
それで、琴音は今から何を？
And if you remember Eel's room, he has of that game. He has the most buttons of the main girl and Lupin. Wait. Hold on. Nah, we cannot see his room. damn it. I will, but you know which ones I mean. The one where he's a shrine of. That's from Code Realize. There's a lot here, but I think this one catches my eye. A love story set within the times of Greek mythology. So it's this story where a goddess and a human boy fall in love. It doesn't just have a crazy plot, but it's popular because of the psychology involved, and the romance is written in such detail. I'm sure it's not unusual in these myths for humans and gods to fall in love, especially not if it's Greek mythology, Kotone. If Zeus is involved, or how do you say his name in English? Zeus? If Zeus is involved, well, there's no romance there. But there sure is a bunch of stuff happening. But it's just how we read them. It's a love held not only by the two people, but it went across species. It must have been hard. I want to know how it... sorry, I was rambling.
いや構わないよ。俺たちと空想の類は切っても切れない関係。だからそういう話、実は好きだったり。
I want to rant about books as well. Huh?
前に俺たちがちらっと語ったでしょ。カヌス、デュラハンの存在が伝承として残っている一例のように、悪魔や天使の存在もゲートやホールを通して俺やイルの世界から伝わってきた可能性があるって、そう仮定するとさ、自分たちがこっちでどういうイメージを抱かれているかちょっと気になるじゃない。
I see.
それに君がこういったものをどれほど好きなのか、その熱を理解できてよかった。ありきたりなセリフだけどさ、夢中になれることがあるっていうのはいいことだと思うんだよね。
I wouldn't go that far. This really is just a hobby for
趣味
me.
だからこそすごいんだよ。俺はどうも長い間生きてる影響か、秋っぽい性分でね。今はマイブームの推理小説もあとどのぐらい続くかどうか。
That's right. Mishi's lived much longer than the others. That said, he's probably done all sorts of things that normal people try. I'm sure it'd be hard to stick with a single hobby for someone like him.
だからさ、もしかしたらいずれ君と同じように空想の物語に思いを馳せる日が来るかもしれない。その時はおすすめの本のご教授を願いたいかな。ね、先輩。
Senpai. That sounds so strange. You're always my teacher when it comes to anything related to coffee. I love holding my voice down so it doesn't bother anyone else around us. What does he think about stories about demons? Yeah, right? I want to find out. Michi smiles at me in satisfaction for some reason.
こうやって静かな空間で君とコーヒー以外の話をするのも
I think Michi is the guy who is in love with her regardless of the route.
みんなといるとどうも騒がしくなっちゃう
Like
し。
the others fall for her in their own routes, but they don't actually interact with her that much in others' routes. But I think he's in love with her regardless. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've held a conversation like that about books.
ならよかった。今回は急な話だったけど、機会があればまた誘っていいかな。
Absolutely. Of course, I'd like to hear about more of your favorite books next time. After we spend our time reading books. And at times taking breaks and talking about them until we had our fill. We actually didn't spend too much time talking as we were reading, but the time I spent with Michi was quiet and it felt so calming. Oh man! I say this now because I love reading, but actually the last 2 weeks I haven't actually read that much because I wasn't feeling it at all, and I'm really sad right now. I am somewhere in, no, not even the middle, like maybe not even a third of the way through the Umineko manga. But the mangas for both Higurashi and Umineko are really long. So just reading a single volume takes quite a while. Like it takes me 40 minutes or something. And like, when do you have time to just sit down to read for almost an hour on just one thing? And I hate to have to stop in between. Didn't you read a bunch of manga recently? Well, the last few weeks I only read 10 volumes of different things. Just 10 in 2 weeks. And I try to read 10 mangas each week. At least. So... I am below my goal, my weekly goal. Alrighty, we're almost there. There's nothing new here. Interesting. Well, let's see. So I don't know how far we will get with this first chapter. Because I'll have to stop pretty much on time. Because today is a Sunday, sadly. Considering that, the best decision would be to ask the two for help. Well, that was only a single line change once again. Alrighty. So, game. Will there be anything different during these scenes? Yes, no, maybe. No. Just the funky music changes that don't feel that off when you read it at normal speed. But when skipping through it, it's a little... No? No change? No. Everything the same. That's fair. I just hope, because in Year's Root they kind of all came together to fight, because everyone gave Eel tips on how to fight and he used those, so I hope in Mishi's Root as well they will all come together. Because Mishi is the type of guy who would just do everything on his own. Someone was. They were quiet. I saw Mishi back turned towards me sitting at the counter. Mishi, I didn't expect to see you here. You're usually in a demon world by now. After I called him, Mishi turns towards me, his robe waving as if to greet me as well.
なあことね。今日はなんとなくギリギリまでこっちにいたい気分でね。それと君がゲートに引き込まれた例の妙な現象もあったでしょ。だから一応様子を見つつ軽く警戒しておこうかなって。
see. I appreciate you being
いえ
concerned.
いえ、お気になさらずってね。
Alright, I came down to pour myself some warm milk, but would you like anything, Misha?
お、それは嬉しいな。ありがとう。それじゃあせっかくだし、この前約束した君だけの特製ブレンドをお願いしてもいい？
Well, of course, certainly. But I really am still testing it out. You sure you want to try it?
もちろん。何しろ君が作った世界に一つのオリジナルコーヒーでしょ。そんな素敵なものを最初に味わえる栄養。他の誰にも譲れないよ。
It's nothing so amazing, but okay. I try to make you the best cup I can. I smile, and as I went to boil some water, Misha suddenly calls out to me, stopping me.
ああ、ちょっと待ってもらえるかな。それで一つお願いがあってさ。
Me? A request?
できればそのブレンド、このカップに入れてくれないかな。
With the snap of his fingers appeared a coffee cup that fit perfectly in his hands. That is a very well-loved cup. It looked fairly old with several small scuffs. Small scuffs? Kotuna, I think this goes beyond small scuffs, so okay. What's this?
いわゆるマイカップってやつ。ほら、バーのマイボトルとか、ボーリングのマイボールみたいな。コーヒーマニアを自称する身としては、やっぱりカップにもこだわりたくてね。
Are you now? It looks just like an ordinary mug to me, but is it actually really expensive?
もしそれが割れちゃったら、魔王様の怒りで世界が滅ぶ。
What?
なんてことはないけどね。でも、それでも、俺にとっては大切なものなんだ。
Okay.
だから、丁重に扱ってくれると嬉しいよ。
Sure. I was about to tell him he should leave it here if it was so precious to him, but his eyes were filled with kindness as they looked at me and the mug. So deciding that saying so might be insensitive, I quietly nod. However, the idea that this mug was something the powerful demon lord kept so preciously, it wouldn't disappear from my mind. I hope I don't get nervous and break it. What if my hands were shaking and I couldn't pour the coffee into it correctly?
まあ、その時はその時さ。大事な品ではあるけど、それも立派な消耗品だからね。ということで、これからは気軽に俺専用ってことで、バンバン使ってちょうだいな。
Okay, if you say so, Misha. Holding against the pressure, I poured the warm milk into my own cup and the special blend into Misha's. I tried over and over, adjusting ratios little by little. I finally begin to see the cup I pour take shape. I'm still far from being able to hold pride in its completion, but this is the best cup I can pour. Here you go. Unable to hide my considerable anxiety or my movements becoming very stiff, I give Misha the coffee. Misha takes his cup in his hands while slowly taking in the aroma begins to drink. A mug given to the heroine by Misha. At a glance it seems to be an ordinary old coffee cup, but it seems quite important. Right in the kokoro. Good, I'm so glad you like it.
本当に美味しいよ。しばらくはこのコーヒーだけで生活できちゃうぐらいだね。
Don't overdo it. I still think there's a lot I can improve on with this blend. I drink my warm milk as well and enjoy a peaceful conversation with Misha. That's right, Misha, about the gate. Were you able to find out anything else?
ああ、いや、それがさっぱり。直に調べても見たんだけど、なんか不自然なぐらいに静かというか、逆にそれが怪しい感じかな。なんというか、扉を相手に使うような比喩じゃないんだけど、君以外が近づくと露骨に猫かぶっておとなしくしてるって印象があるんだよね。
The door's like, don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious,
あれ
don't
だけの
be
ことを起こし
suspicious.
た後なら、何かしらの名残や動きが残っててもおかしくないと思うんだけど。
Yeah, I suppose that's true. It's almost like the very gate itself has a mind of its own, huh?
あるいはその先に広がる異世界に何かがあるか。だからしばらくはあのゲートに深夜一人で近づかない方が賢明。
Well, I mean, last time We didn't actually go there on our own. Like you for some reason we were mind controlled and walked there. So how do you expect us to not be mind controlled? That's the entire point. Got it, I'll be careful. Even I wouldn't want to have to go through the same experience again. But I really am glad you all were there in that place I got sent to. It was thanks to you that the wormhole at the island was dealt with. Hey, what do you think the wormhole was really? Everyone is saying it's different from the ones usually out there, right? I casually added my comment while taking a sip of the warm milk.
ただ一つ言えるのは、あれは、あの世界は絶対に人間界に存在しちゃいけないもの。なのにどうしてあんな場所に出てきちゃったんだろうね。
Yo, Misha, you could try and tell us. Because you sound like you know way more than you let on. As Misha talked with a troubled look on his face, I thought back to the spa toy that appeared in that giant arm. Those things were without a doubt a threat to those living in this world, but... Now that we were back safely, I recalled the moment. The noise when the arm crumbled, it felt kind of like a scream.
そうだね。意志もない。人外かも怪しい。そんな伽藍堂の存在だったのに。どうしてか悲しい。俺もそんな感じましたよ。
As Misha closed his eyes, he murmured with a lonely tone in his voice. Hey. Ho ho! There we go! Misha's rude, Misha's rude. I wake up with a throbbing pain in my hand. No, more accurately, I wasn't asleep. I didn't actually feel pain. Whether burned by a demon beast's flames, or cut apart by a black knight's sword, or pierced by a fallen angel's light, I wouldn't feel pain after all this time. That's right, exactly right. Ow! Ah! Thanks for the posture check. Check your posture with me. Pain and suffering, feeling such things is nothing more than the distant past for me now. That's why, the misery of my voice not reaching her, the despair of my hand being turned away, the difficulty breathing when I saw his face as he happily spoke of her. I shouldn't feel anything.
ただいま、みんな。いやあ、今日もまた賑やかだったよ。新メニューの試食会が始まってさ。
What the fuck?
けど、カムスは味覚が鈍い方だし、イグニスは肉以外の評価が渋いし、イルとカリアは好き嫌いが多いし、まともに評価できるのが俺とリンドウだけだからさ、思わず食べ過ぎちゃったよ。
He, without waiting for a reply from anyone, relaxes his cheeks and starts talking. The same story he's told countless times. With a gentle aroma of coffee wafting about, he talks about a girl who owns a cafe where a great variety of non-humans hang around. No matter how badly I yearn, I can't reach it. He speaks about a different, distant world.
彼女のアンシャンテに馴染んじゃってね。本当に不思議な子だよ。間違いなく、ごく普通の人間であるはずなのに、いつだって誰だって、彼女はあのカウンターで訪れた俺たち異世界の客を、人外を、笑顔で出迎えてくれる、温かな居場所を与えてくれる。
Each time I hear the story, my chest throbs. Why? Why is he the only one saved? He's a liar. With unforgivable falsehoods, he covers up his body, a traitor who has no possible salvation. Yet why it was only him? Why? What's different? Why? What did I do wrong? Why? What am I missing? Why? Why can't it be me who gets to visit Enchanté and smile? Drawn by a sound, I look up at the sky. With a sharp creak, the sky cracks and something falls far off. Seeing a little smoke rise in the distance, he looks over towards it.
お客さんかな。最近急に増えたな。スパルドイの件もあの腕の件もいろいろ調べたけど結局分からずじまいだし、我が地元ながら謎だらけで困ったもんだ。
As he says this, I watch his back as he walks off. I say with a voice that will reach nobody. I've tried countless times to reach you. I've tried countless times to speak. I've tried countless times to seek you. Yet, as expected, he doesn't even notice my voice and he doesn't turn to face me. I already know. As long as I am me, the day of my salvation will never come. That's right. As long as I am me. You. For you. I to you. What the fuck? Okay. So one of those two is lying. Under investigation of GPM, among the countless other words said to exist, much like the beast word bestial with its warlord meritocracy, there's a world still shrouded in mystery, with the Demon King holding dominion over a singular social order, the demon world Asmodia. In its center sits the fortress of the Demon King, known as the Demon King Castle. Oh, never mind, I guess he wasn't just lying about the demon world. In its hall, the heads of each house gather, meeting and speaking to each other face to face.
おい、聞いたか？帰らずの砂漠の端にあったのが丸ごと消滅しちまったって話。
なんだそりゃ、初耳だぞ。ノラドラゴンにでも襲われたか？
バカ、消滅したっつったろ。襲撃で滅ぼされたとかじゃなく、一晩で跡形もなく消えたんだよ。それこそまるで土地ごとえぐられたみてえによ。
はあ？おいおい、またかよ。あの辺りは先週も村が一つなくなったばかりじゃねえか。
A masculine giant with 4 arms, a demon with a lion's face and twisted horns. The demons of various forms speak of only one subject in chorus. Cryptic fissures appear with an earthquake, the land around them sucked in and destroyed. The disasters occur across the demon world and everyone grimaces at the news.
このままじゃまずいんじゃねえか。魔王様はどう言ってる？
ああ、そのことだが噂では。
Then, when the other demon begins to speak,
聞け皆の者!
The Demon King's aide enters the hall and raises his voice to the gathered demons.
皆も知っての通り、魔界アスモディアは現在危機的な状況にある。度重なり発生する空間の亀裂。それに飲まれて消失した村は今や10を超えている。
The demon world is also having trouble with the wormholes? That's interesting. The large hall hushes at his news. After acknowledging the silence, he continues his announcement.
だが、案ずることはない。この未曾有の事態を迎えたことで、魔王様はついに決断を下された。この魔界が滅びる場合に備え、外の世界に新天地を求めるべきだと。おいおい、つまりは異世界を侵略するってことかよ。
侵略は上等だが、一体どこを攻めるってんだ。
The heads gathered in the hall erupted a sudden declaration. Perhaps hearing the responses, the Demon King's aide speaks sternly.
魔王様はおっしゃられた。展開はなんか怖いんでパス。妖精界は今ホールが通じてない。10回？俺冷え性だし。おお。さすが魔王様。なんてフランクなお言葉だ。
そこ以外だと、あとは
目標はすでに決まっている。我らが住まうだけの広さがあって、いい感じに住民が弱そうでなんかいけそうじゃね的な世界。そう、狙うは人間界。 さあ勇敢なる魔族の戦士たちよ、爪を研げ尻尾を立てるのだ。
油断したな、愚かな人間ども。すべてが策略であったとも知らず、世を仲間だと信じ込む貴様らは。
嘘だ。私は信じない。あなたがまさか魔王だったなんて。
愚かなり勇者コロロよ。その信じる心とやらが貴様らの仲間遊び人リンドを殺したのだ。
In the lazy Saturday sunlight, today's customers are currently one pair, a demon king and an angel. You too, sorry for the interruption, but we're bringing your order over now. Could you pause your game for a while? The two were gazing at a game console, and when I speak to them...
あれ、もうできたんだ。ありがとう。
ゲームをプレイしていると、時の流れを早く観測するのはジャンル問わず共通の事象です。
I'm for Corona as a hero, me too! The two were excitedly reading the game aloud, put their play on pause as they asked.
はい、イルはフロート。
And Misha's usual blend, here. Along with Karia, a very good help, and now we place the items in front of the two.
というか、さっきから騒がしいけど、何のゲームやってんの？
For one of the Otome games Eel likes, the content seemed kind of unsettling, didn't it?
こちらは先日発売されたばかりの女性向け RPG なのです。何でも恋愛要素に特化し、村人からモンスターまで全てのキャラクターと恋愛ができる意欲作だとか。
That does sound like a really adventurous game in many ways. That's too many options though, is that even manageable? Although the origin of the Hiro Korono name seems happy to be part of the cast.
いやでも魔王が出るって聞いたから俺もちょっとやらせてもらったけどさ。特に魔王がやりたい放題だし、仲間を騙し討ちにしたり、呪いを流して湖を死の湖にしたり。
Yeah, you could do that as well, probably. How would you even develop romance with someone like that? Suddenly Eel, who seemed to be saving the game, that erases his head.
しかし、このゲームの魔王はまさに悪、残虐非道といった印象を受けますが、ミシェルはこれに比べるとあまり魔王らしくはありませんね。
嘘。地味にショック。そんなに俺って威厳ない？
No.
言われてみる。
I don't know about dignified, but you're right. He doesn't seem atrocious at all, does he? He says kind of unsettling things sometimes, but that's just Misha's sense of humor. Is it? He's usually just a carefree demon king as he seems right now, although I know very well that he has ridiculous power. For example, at Amasaki Island near my hometown where the Kure tribe lives. Had a big incident the other day when a fissure opened in the sky above the island and a bony spa toy appeared. There's no mistake that it was resolved thanks to Misha's power. With everyone's help, that form he took playing a beautiful tune, it was less like a demon king and more like something divine. Thinking back on it now, the musical performance was beautiful. Karia tilts his head at me as I thought. I was just thinking about what happened, about Amasaki Island. Yeah, in the end I never figured out the reason why the gate suddenly threw me out there. Or the true identity of the spa toy or the arm that we saw then. Maybe because it was too shocking. Even now I see it in my dreams. Anna! That's the first you ever mentioned that you would see it in your dreams. The giant fissure cut into the sky, and as though reaching for something, those creepy arms. Perhaps noticing my face turn a little pale.
あれから特に異変も起きてないし、気になるのはわかるけど。
Yet another your mistake. I hate it here.
GPM もあの島にスタッフを配備し調査を続けているようです。何かあればリンドウから報告があるかと。
うん、俺もそう思う。わからないことを考えすぎてもきっといいことないと思う。
With Mishi's cue, everyone smiles at me like this. But considering his notice of such a small change in me, Mishi doesn't really seem like an evil demon king at all. Yeah, thanks. I smile as I think this. As everyone said that the incident is already resolved, I need to change my mood. Right as I had this thought, the utensils set on the table start to clatter on their own. That moment, the shop shakes violently. The tremor is so big it's hard to stay standing. Chairs, tables, shelves, everything dances in unison. The tremor shakes my body. The furniture jumps like it's possessed. I can't endure shaking anymore when I'm about to fall over. Mishi lightly snaps his fingers. The furniture that was dancing around so much suddenly stops moving like it was all a lie. At the same time, my body feels gently supported by something I can't see and my accident is avoided. Huh, that was such a shock. Thanks, Mishi. You're welcome, or so he must have thought. Mishi sips his coffee like nothing at all happened. Then Karia, who had escaped into the air with eel, lands while nervously looking around. Yeah, thanks to Mishi, nothing in the shop broke, but...
ここ以外はわからないね。念のためざっと見て回った方がいいかも。
なら俺、厨房見てくるよ。ガス回り心配だしさ。
Yeah, please do. Being quite familiar with its layout, Karia disappears into the kitchen then. Are you okay, Eel?
ええ、体に損傷などはありません。カリアと共に宙に浮いていましたので。
Okay, that's good to hear, but I have another concern for you, Eel. Do you think your room might be a total disaster now, like your mountains of goods? Eel's face instantly goes pale and he flies off to his room. Alright then, shall we go look outside? It would be dangerous if any pots broke. Luckily, the earthquake didn't warp the door and make it unopenable. With Mishi's help, I push open the door leading outside. Along with the bright sunlight, what jumped into our sight was... Ah! As though ripped by a claw, a crack running through the ground. Huh? My eyes go wide and I hold my breath. You're kidding. I know it was a big earthquake, but for a crack like this to form... Huh?
これは地割れなんかじゃない。
Much like before, no, with far more strength than the big earthquake earlier, Misha pulls me to his chest. The moment in the place where I was right before Misha pulled me. Eh? With a groan, what looks like an undead hand crawls out. That was, well, totally different in size, just like what I saw on Amasaki Island, just before the fingertips reached me. Mishi immediately swings his hand and blows the arm away. With a cacophony, the arm disappears and the fissure there in the ground slowly begins to close. All I can do is stare in confused silence. That's just now an arm like we saw on Amasaki Island, right? Why did that appear in front of Enchanté? Well, someone is trying to reach you from the demon world.
おうおう、どこも地震のニュースばっかだな。
かなり大きい地震だったからね。幸い被害はほぼないみたいだけど。
我もその時は近所の子らと遊んでいたのだが、泣き出す者もいて大変だったぞ。
私の部屋の大切なグッズたちも一部崩れ落ちてしまいました。
A grieving eel stares into a tablet he holds as everyone exchanges words. That night after the sudden earthquake, all the regulars had been in the human world at the time and they all had a taste of the intense shaking. After distributing some post-meal coffee and juice to everyone, I was also watching the news myself. When it goes to commercial, I sit next to Misha in a position where I can see the tablet.
で、天崎島の時に見た腕をまた見たってのは本当かよ。
Yep. Yeah, it disappeared really quickly, so I have no proof, but...
俺も同じく彼女とそれを見たんだけど間違いないと思う。
天崎島で発生した 謎のホールと腕がこの店にですか？偶然にしてはできすぎていますね。
As though everyone thought the same thing, pondering silence runs between all of us, and as though interrupting that silence, the commercials end. The newscast on the screen resumes the news.
本日は地震に詳しい教授をお招きしています。早速お話を伺ってみましょう。先生、今回の地震には今までにない特徴があるそうですが。
ええ、我々も驚いています。今までの観測史上、例のないものと言ってもいいでしょう。
Okay.
元来、地震とは地盤、プレートの歪みによって生じることは、皆さん今回の地震ではプレートに動きもなく、地震で生じる地震波も異常な数値を示しています。
では通常の地震ではないと。
ええ、学者として、こういう表現が正しいのかわかりませんが、世界そのものが揺らされたと、そんな印象を受けてしまいますね。
学者としては大胆な意見だな。非科学的だ。
科学に真正面から向かってる首なし騎士のセリフは
Never mind that. Thank you, Ignis.
まあそれに関しては魔獣も天使も人外の存在そのものが同じことかと。
Yeah, you're all not very scientific. As everyone exchanges jokes, what I think about, of course, is the incident on Amasaki Island. Before I was near my hometown, and this time it was in front of the shop. It's as though this phenomenon has some connection to me. A vague sense of unease fills my chest, like something frightening is slowly getting closer. Terrible premonitions swirl around in my head, in my mind. After finishing washing the last cup, I sigh. I thought today would just be a normal day, but suddenly all of the conversations became scary. Back at Amasaki Island, that abnormal event happened in the sky and it was at a comfortable distance. I was more surprised than anything, so I wasn't terrified in the same way. But seeing an arm again directly and up close, it makes me tremendously uneasy. Even if I tried to sleep, it's clear that I wouldn't be able to. I should get some fresh air. When I exit into the backyard, the cool wind I was seeking immediately grazes my cheeks. But when I gaze out at the pretty well-ordered yard, at any moment now that future could open up, my imagination plays out horrible scenarios. Coming outside had the opposite effect. Imagining how frightening that could actually be, I returned to the shop when...
もう戻っちゃうの、お姫様。せっかく綺麗な星空なんだし、もう少し堪能してみたら。
Just then, just coming out of the entrance, Misha greets me with a smile. Misha, what's wrong? I thought you'd be in a demon world by now.
そうなんだけど、それよりも君が気になっちゃって。
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't trust him at all right now anymore. Because, like, he's the Demon King. So why would the Demon King order that they should try to get to the human world if Misha is right here with us enjoying his time? And also his funny, oh, I have to go back to the demon world before midnight feels like maybe he needs to do that to continue this hold on this body or something. I don't know what to think at all. I'm so... who are you? Who's that other guy who's trying to reach us and who are you? Leisurely yet directly he presents his question. Yeah, I'm feeling really scared. Maybe he just doesn't care about any human aside from Kotona. Yeah! Probably. I will bet you $5 that you are 100% correct. He doesn't care about anyone else. He might show empathy and stuff, but like in the end, I think the only one he really cares about is Kotone. For reasons we don't know yet. When I think about something like that happening near Enchanté again, I mean, thankfully nothing was damaged, but what if people like Karia or other visitors would have gotten hurt? Enchanté as its owner, I know I should be more dignified. I thought I'd gotten really used to strange days with non-humans and other worlds. Aside from the taste of coffee and cooking, in this special cafe, the owner of Enchanté needs to be able to adapt after all. I start to feel disappointed in myself for being scared, but Misha...
別にいいんじゃない。堂々となんてしなくてさ。
Huh? I start wiping away my unease. He lets out a cheerful grin.
怖いものは怖い。不安なものは不安。いいんだよ、それで。
But also, I don't want to think that this Misha is not real. Like, I don't want... Ah! Is that really true?
それにこういう人知の及ばない厄介事こそ俺たちラスボス人外図がいるんだし。
Who's that other guy that seems to have the same face as you?
遠慮なんてしないでさ。助けてミシェルって言ってくれた方が俺は嬉しかったり。
I can't help but smile at the silly attitude of his. What, is that how I sound?
迫真のお芝居でしょ。
Why? It was terrible. As I chuckle, he smiles again. Before I knew it, the darkness permeating my chest has disappeared somewhere.
ちょっとはリラックスできた。
Yes, thank you. To be honest, I was too scared to sleep. When I muttered this, Misha looked to be thinking carefully.
それじゃあ君がいい夢を見れるように魔王様からのプレゼント。
Oh. He beckons me over, and when I come right before his eyes, he spins me around, turning my back to him, then...
いくよ。
When Misha says this, a familiar sound rings out. Following that... A familiar light floats over our surrounding area. Of course I wouldn't forget it. This beautiful keyboard of light is... This is what you used back on Amasaki Island to close the wormhole?
そうそう。とは言っても今回は特に効果はなし。音を鳴らすために形を再現しただけ。
True, as Misha said, when he presses his fingers, light dances about. Beautiful tones play out in colors, challenging the very beauty of our flowers. Such gorgeous sounds. Before I realized it, simple words like that waltzed off my lips. As I thought listening again closely, Misha's performance is beautiful. No, the melody playing out as though sweeping away my unease. For more than that time, I can hear the gentle, dulcet tones as I listen to it in enchantment.
はあ、そうだ。一緒に弾いてみよっか。
At Misha's sudden suggestion, I blinked my eyes. Wait, me with this magic? Is it okay for me to touch it?
平気平気。さっき言った通り、これはただ音を鳴らすだけだよ。
As he says this, Misha takes my hand. Then at his prompting, I touch the weightless keys of light. Aww. It reacts to my fingers and sound rings out with dancing lights. I can't help but smile at the spectacle. I'm absorbed by it, playing my clumsy sounds over and over. As I do this...
喜んでくれてよかった。
Misha smiles as he says this, playing on another part of the keyboard. I wonder if he's trying to harmonize with me. My awkward tones don't obstruct his performance at all.
まあそんなわけで、魔王様もいろいろと心配してるんでね。君の力になってあげたいんだよ。
Wait, did I take a screenshot? Right, thank you, Misha. Aww. As I thought you aren't an evil demon king. You're a kind demon king.
それはちょっとラスボスとしては
He's
複雑なような。
He's blushing. Yeah.
何度も言ってるけどね。俺魔界だと結構暴君なんだよ。
Don't return to the castle until you found my favorite coffee beans. Like that?
俺の圧政イメージってそんな感じか。
From what I've seen of you, that's as extreme as you get, I imagine. As the two of us start laughing together. Our sweet duet beautifully resonates, rising high into the starry sky. That night, likely because I was immersed in a lingering memory of our beautiful harmony, I had no strange nightmares of those fishes or the yawns. In fact, I was able to sleep with happy feelings. Aha. Yeah, that's nice, Kotone. 1 week after that happy performance, no abnormal events of note happened, as though that fissure had just been a coincidence. My peaceful routine at Enchanté has been happily reclaimed. Vivid sunlight fills the room on a certain day just past noon. As usual, sitting at a counter seat looking down at the paperback book, yet kind of nodding off, a Demon King half closes his eyes, looking like he could fall asleep any second. On the opposite side from him I grind coffee beans in a mill, then while slow steaming them, I begin to gaze at him intently. Should I wake him up or let him sleep? Right when I'm hesitating on a decision, the book he's holding slips and falls and his eyes open wide at the sound.
もしかして俺寝かけてた
Yep, you looked really comfortable.
あちゃ魔王がうたた寝とか威厳がないのはこういうところが原因なのかも
While he seems to be seriously concerned, I can't help but smile at him. He picks up his book and as he sits, here you go. I present freshly brewed coffee to Monsieur. He seems puzzled. Of course it's because I made it without him asking. I thought you might want to drink some if you happen to wake up. I tried preparing a blend.
さすが俺の思考がよくわかってるじゃあありがたくいただこうかな
Monsieur lightly rubs his eyes, then
もちろん何しろ君が作った世界に一つのオリジナルコーヒーでしょそんな素敵なものを最初に味わえる栄誉他の誰にも譲れないよ
After resolving the incident on Amasaki Island, what I made is a blend still in trial stages. Afterwards, seeming to like it, he's ordered it many times and happily extends his hand. Monsieur, after slowly enjoying the aroma, gently places his lips to the slightly bitter surface.
美味しいよ入れる過程で風味が損なわれてない俺が今まで飲んできたコーヒーの中でもトップクラス
High praise. I see. There's still lots of room to improve, so I was going to work on it more. But I'm still happy you like it, that you like it, Monsieur. Oh, but top shelf, does that mean it still isn't number one?
ああ別に比較するようなものじゃないけどそうなるかな
I suppose that means that the bar Grandpa said is still very high. I hear the path of coffee is a deep one. I want to know how many years of training it'll take to even reach his level. Since his is the bar I want to rise above, I think back to how Grandpa looked as he would brew his coffee.
一応言っておくと俺が一番好きだって感じたコーヒーはソーアンの入れたコーヒーじゃないよ
What? Really? I totally thought that was the case, so I'm pretty shocked. At my state, the Demon King chuckles.
味の問題じゃないんだ一番美味しいと一番好きってさ似てるようで全く違うと思わない
Most delicious and most preferred. I suppose they're similar, yet now that I'm asked about it, the tone and the feeling behind it are both different.
コーヒーに限らず食べ物の好みはただ味だけで決まるものじゃない
Depends on who makes it.
飲む場所飲む時間飲む状況誰と一緒に飲んでるか誰が入れてくれたものなのかそういうのがぴったり噛み合った時に偶然できる
Could be my most favorite food. If I'm not feeling well, it won't taste good.
最高の一杯
Other way around as well. Could be my most hated food, but if I'm feeling good or if the person who made it with a special care just for me, then I would still enjoy it probably. I get it. That's true. I might think the food at a classy restaurant is delicious. The nostalgic food my mom made, eaten together with my family, it really means the world. Then what are the conditions for coffee to become your favorite?
それはね
That's
内緒
Of course you won't tell. What? It's unfair to just dodge the question like that. If you say it like it's so profound, that makes me even more curious.
そんな簡単に正解を教えちゃったら面白くないでしょ
We will find out.
それに最近君ってば俺の恐ろしさを忘れがちみたいだしここはちょっと意地悪をして悪的なアピールをしておきたいなって
He says that, but his face and tone of voice are nothing but kind. I don't feel a shred of ill intent. Isn't this a little too soft to get your evil points up? I say this, but these conversations are so fun, as me and the mischievous Demon King smile at each other across the counter. Mischievous. Without our noticing, Eel had come down from the second floor and was staring at us. What's wrong? If you have an order, I'll take it. When we called him, Eel cast his eyes down.
いえ、二人がとても幸せそうに懐かしい。そう、私が一番美しいと思う表情で微笑み合っていたので、つい見惚れていただけです。私、部屋に戻りますね。誰が来店しているか
Why
気
would
に
it
なっ
be
て降りてきただ
nostalgic
けなので。
to see us smiling at each other, Eel? Eel's smile was a little different from usual, and the two of us tilted our heads. Then, after he returned to his room as though taking his place, the entrance doorbell rings, announcing a new visitor.
Michel.
Ah, welcome, Rindo. Faster than I can greet him, Rindo briskly walks over to us. Then places his hand on the counter table in front of Michio.
のんびりコーヒータイムを楽しんでるところ悪いんだけど、今回の侵略の件、どういうつもりなんだい？
He's smiling, but Rindo's voice is full of force.
何の話？
In response to him, Michio tilts his head in question. Puzzled by the difference in her tone, I can't help but interrupt. Rindo, what is it all of a sudden?
ごめん、挨拶もせずに。
As if to explain the situation, Rindo pulls out his smartphone, then holds the screen up to me. Shown in the middle of the map is the harbor area of Tokyo Bay.
東京湾の外れにある臨海倉庫。この一角に先日ホールが開いた。そして今朝になってそこから現れた人外がその周辺を占拠し始めたんだ。魔界から来た魔族を名乗ってね。
魔族？
That means
そう。ミシェルが牛耳る魔界の住人だよ。部下とも言えるのかな。
There we go.
だから、
Plot's
彼
plotting.
なら何か事情を知ってると思って聞きに来たんだけど、この様子を見る限り心当たりはないんだね。
魔界って一言で言っても広いからさ。少なくとも今回の件、俺はノータッチ。
When Misha shakes his head, I nod my head and continue. Also, I can't think of Misha suddenly doing such a thing without a good reason. That's why I question Rindo. A group of demons probably acted on their own without Misha's consent, right? Isn't that more likely?
正直、僕もそっちの線が濃厚とは思ってる。そもそもミシェルなら部下なんて使わないで一人で破壊行為に乗り出しそうだし。
そりゃ薄くて熱い信頼をどうも。
In reality, Misha is the king who rules demons. The subordinates reflect the superior. It seems this custom of human society also applies to the demon world. And the superior, the king, is Misha.
仕方ないね。気乗りはしないけど、この件は俺が何とかするよ。
He finishes the little coffee he has left and stands up looking very annoyed. Leaving Enchanté driving at high speed in Rindo's car for a little under an hour. The rusty door of a rundown warehouse opens with a creaking sound. The smell of iron rusting from the sea breeze greets us as we step inside. So this is the warehouse where the demons appeared?
そう。東京湾で降ろしたコンテナを運び込む際に使われていたそうだけど、数年前に管理会社が倒産してね。で、どうだい、魔王様？
いや、今のとこそういうのは感じないけど。
Misha turns around, looking at me with a complicated
琴音まで
expression.
ついてくる必要はなかったんじゃない？
Yes. His view is exactly right. Yeah, I was kind of wondering myself, but he said as long as I don't leave your side. The one who allowed it, Rindo, looks around alertly and makes a bitter smile.
いや、まあ、あんなに気になる目で見られたらね。
気になります。
はあ、普段うるさいくせに変なとこで押しに弱いな。漫画。
了解。
Shaking his head and shrugging, Misha starts walking again and we go deeper into the warehouse. Then, after passing the shadow of a certain container, Misha stops right in front of me. What? Misha, what's wrong?
いや、魔族見つけたは見つけたんだけど。
Judging from Misha's stance, it's probably not dangerous. Me and Rino then follow his gaze too. Are you kidding me? Are they giant fruit jellies? Without thinking, I mutter my impression of what I saw. The fruit jellies! That wasn't even...
おお、ついに侵入されてしまった。現地の人間、略して現地人に。
戦っても勝ち目はあんまりない。スライム的にはやり過ごすのが正解。
They speak! Which means they must be some kind of intelligent non-humans. Are these the demons we were searching for? They mentioned slime. It's kind of like the slime monsters that appear in games and stuff, right? A common monster from RPGs. As gelatinous life forms of indeterminate shape, their strength varies based on the game they appear, though they are usually very weak. True, the image from the appearance is much like that.
君たちだよね。魔界からやってきたっていうのは。
Misha asks in a disappointed way then. The slimes huddle together and start trembling.
違う。スライム魔族違う。魔界とか聞いたこともない。
言いがかりはやめてほしい。スライムたち、どこにでもいる普通のペットの一種。
No.
そうそう。侵略の下準備とかしてない。ぜひとも放っておくときない。
ひとまず君たちが魔界から人間界侵略のために来たのは分かった。
なぜバレたのか。
いや、なんというか、君たち嘘がつけないタイプだね。
During this conversation, Rindo has a doubtful look on his face and pats Misha on the shoulder.
あのさ、ミシェル。あれ、本当に魔族で合ってるのか。その割になんか彼ら、全然迫力ないし。
I take one if he looks like they fit in a bag. One for each of us. Kororo needs a new companion.
魔界には写真とかないからさ、魔王の顔を知らない連中も多いんだ。
Ah, so that's... Eh? I start aiming to interrupt our conversation. A sharp cackle sounds shaking the
そこの
warehouse.
ポンコツスライムたちに代わり、比例を詫びさせてもらおう。人間どもよ。本当はなんかもうちょっとばかりまともな人選もあった気がするな。肩の関節を外して必死に頑張った俺様以外、軟体のこいつらぐらいしかこの世界にはやってこられなかったのだ。
This voice, where is it coming from? I fervently look around, then on the stacked containers I spot a single silhouette.
ことね、念のために下がって。
Misha immediately shields me behind his back, and right after... For some reason, the silhouette makes a valiant shout and leaps from the container. It lands magnificently, revealing his form. What appeared was a lone man. Yo! What? Dark brown skin, a sinister-looking tail, protruding horns. This form is exactly like a demon! Remaining hidden behind Misha's back, I said as confidently knowing what it was.
その通りというわけで、そのスライムたちに代わり、俺様が改めて説明してやろう。
Oh god, it's... Oh, he speaks of himself with Ore-sama.
この倉庫は我ら魔族が占拠した。人間界征服の共闘法にするためにな。
In a battle, this refers to an important position held on the front line for deep advancement. What? He declares it so boldly I'm lost for words. You're going to invade the human world from here? From this?
いいリアクションだぞ人間。その恐怖こそが我らの糧とな。
Oh, he has nice hoop earrings. From this little place?
世界侵略用にしては随分小さな共闘法だね。
When we said our frank impressions, the man crosses his arms with a humbled face. He has fangs!
ぶっちゃけ俺様もうすうすそう思ってたところだ。人間界はあれだ。俺様の想像より少しそう3億倍ぐらい広いようでな。
You look like you don't have a lot in your head. What?
そこはせめてもう少し広めに見積もってから侵略計画立てたら。
Misha makes an appropriate point, but the man laughs it off.
まあ人間界がどれだけ広かろうと俺様の圧倒的な力には関係のないこと。
Oh no, I am so scared.
ということで最初の獲物は貴様らだ。さあ我らの力に怯え服従する。
The man points his finger and finally takes a good look at us. At Misha and Rindo. And finally, from behind Misha's back at me having poked my face out a little to talk. The moment he spots me, for some reason the demon man opens his eyes wide and is lost for words. What is this? He's staring right at me. So, who exactly are you? You're not a slime. Are you a leader of the Demon King's army? One of the big four? Unable to endure the silence, I ask him this, and the man's body stiffens instantly, after seemingly forced coughs to try to hide his discomposure.
では名乗ってやろう。聞いて驚け。そして恐怖するがいい。俺様こそが魔界にそのものありと歌われし。
はい、好きだらけ。
Quite literally in a single stroke, Misha snaps his fingers, and right then the man is blown away with intense force right into the wormhole behind him. It engulfs the man's body and he's sucked in with impressive speed.
よーし、まずは1本目のホールインワン。お次はそこのスライムたちだ。
Wait, he already dislocated his one shoulder.
なんたる鬼畜の所業。スライムちょっと恐怖で青ざめてきた。
潔く飛ばされるのが吉。
We fought till the very end. The slimes form impressive powder boulders as they soar through the air. I feel sorry, but it was kind of beautiful. With all the demons blown safely back through the wormhole, the warehouse has regained its peace, but...
なんというか、侵略とか選挙とか、そんな言葉が全然似合わない出来事だったね。
What the fuck just happened? Hey Misha, they were your subordinates, right? You blew them away pretty violently.
いいのいいの。魔族だけあって体は頑丈。あの程度じゃかすり傷も負わないよ。
Are you sure? Okay, if you say so. Afterwards, with the uproar resolved, we head back home. According to Rino's contact and protocol, the warehouse wormhole will be monitored by GPM until it closes. Then after arriving home, we talk about what happened today to everyone gathered at the shop for dinner.
つまりミシェルの許可なしで部下が勝手に人間界侵略を進めてたっつうことか。
聞いた限り随分と個性的かつ御しにくい部下のようだ。日頃気軽に振る舞ってはいるが魔界では上に立つ者として苦労が多いようだな。
ミシェル、よければこちらのアイスをどうぞ。私からのねぎらいのプレゼントです。
みんなの目が同情で生温かい。
Having received a plate of ice cream, Misha mutters this with mixed feelings.
しかし、ミシェルの部下か。思えば今までその類の話は聞いたことがなかったな。
Wait, really?
部下といってもかなりの人数がいるからね。
Yeah, actually, the demon world has never played any part in the other routes, like at all. You can say it simply.
みんな揃ってめっちゃフリーダム。以上。
Wow.
簡潔すぎるっつうの、この適当魔王め。
とはいえ、危険な世界の住人にしては随分愉快な者たちのようですね。
Dangerous. Now that you mention it, during the party we had during the reopening, we touched on a demon world, didn't we? Yep. Observed otherworld, demon world Asmodia. Losing its sun, the world is pitch black, its land illuminated by a dark moon. Its atmosphere filled with miasma, with swamps of terrible poison welling about. The non-humans that live there are called demons, who are creatures of impulse and fight in endless bloody wars. That was the story.
要するに よくある剣と魔法のファンタジーに物騒成分が増した世界ってことだろ。
確か前に聞いた話だと勇者なる者がいる。
そうそう、魔界の一部には人間が住んでてね、そこで生まれた勇者が時々俺を倒そうと城に乗り込んでくるんだ。そうだね、先々代の勇者なんてだいぶ強かったよ。
I really cannot tell what parts of his stories Misha is bullshitting or when he's telling the
さすが
truth.
に死ぬかと。
Your heart! I'm struck speechless by the words that suddenly rushed from his mouth. A sword through your heart. Misha, are you okay?
大丈夫大丈夫、それだいぶ前の話だし、とっくに治ってるから心配しないで。
He says that so nonchalantly, but if it was just a little bit worse, Misha would have died back then? After conversation and finishing cleaning up after dinner, while everyone has returned to their rooms or worlds, I...
それじゃあまた明日ね。今日
Yeah. To see Misha off as he returns to the demon world, I stand in front of the room with the gate. Returns to the demon world, huh?
ことね、どうかした？なんだか元気がないみたいだ。
It seems my inner thoughts appeared on my face. Misha stops his feet as he enters the room and peers into my
もしか
face.
して昼の魔族のことを気にしてる？あいつらなら全然平気だと思う。
It's not that, if there was anything I was worried about, it's more like a someone. It's you, Misha.
俺？
Yeah, Misha, you always return to the demon world every day, right?
まあいろいろと仕事があるからね。
About that, Misha, you know how Eel lives in a human world? Would you not be able to live here? Misha suddenly freezes in
なんで
place.
急に？
Still puzzled, he answers my question with a question. You know, earlier, I couldn't stop thinking about the story about how the hero almost killed you. If you go back to the demon world, doesn't that mean heroes and other people there try and target your very life?
まあそうだけど、でもほら、君も知っての通り、俺ってばチートが売りの魔王だし、そうそう簡単に負けたりは。
But the chance of losing someday, it isn't zero, is it? Your heart was stabbed with a sword. You just told me that story earlier. We're talking like it was normal, but in 5 years or 10 years or after that, who knows if someday a hero will appear whose power exceeds Misha's? If that happens one day suddenly, something could happen to you in a place and I wouldn't even know it. One day you might stop coming to the shop forever, and I just thought that I wouldn't like that. It's only a possibility, but just imagining it, my chest hurts a lot. It's agonizing. So I was just wondering, I know you have work to do in the demon world, but you could borrow a room here and maybe start having your living quarters just be here. If he does have the danger he's in would lighten a little. At my suggestion filled with my hope.
ごめん、それはできない。
Misha quietly declines. His feeling of regret was clear upon his face. It was then that I realized I had made a very one-sided suggestion. I'm sorry, I was pushing this all on my own. Of course, in your position, you wouldn't be able to just make a decision like...
違うんだ。そうじゃない。
Huh? There was an expression I had never seen before on Misha's face. As though he was suffocating, he grasped at his chest with his hand.
君の心配は嬉しい。それができたら、どんなにいいことかって思う。でも俺は君に嘘をついてるから。
Lying? Seeming to actually hear the word I said, Misha raises his head.
ごめん。そろそろ俺は戻るよ。昼にあった倉庫の魔族たちにも説教しなきゃならないし。
Misha! My words don't reach him. Misha walks into the room with the gate in sight, and while hearing the sound of the doorbell to another world ringing, I repeat the words Misha said inside my head. What could he have meant by lying? And he said it with such a tangible agony. With each brisk step, there's a rough feeling under my feet, as though fleeing from her words. Without looking back at the gate, I simply keep walking. What What Kotone said was the sweetest temptation. Waking up in the morning with her there like it's natural. We'd have silly chats all night. I'd be able to wish her good night before bed. I could go and talk to her whenever I wanted to see her face. Things like that. It would be such a dream. I forget my position as Demon King and almost start nodding without thinking. As if to admonish my foolish thoughts, a strong wind slaps my face. Yeah, I know. I know it very well myself. Even if I didn't come back here tomorrow and started living at Enchanté. My chest begins to hurt when I recall the face Kotone made when I refused. If I could only tell her the reason why I can't. But I can't even do that. It's been fine, everything so far. To her, I visit the shop each and every day, and I take my time to enjoy a cup of coffee. I go home at night just as an eccentric regular of hers. That's all. If I wish for more than that, I would certainly be punished for it. As long as I can watch her live a happy life at Enchanté, that's all I should ever need. Okay. Actually, because I guess this chapter is going on for longer than I thought it would, I will use this to stop. I thought maybe we would be able to finish chapter 1, but it doesn't look like it. So the funny, once he gets to the demon world voice, the voice is Mishir. Like, at least the person who's talking to us all the time. Mishir. But then there's also that other guy, the white-haired guy. Who I don't know that well yet. Looks like a point to stop. Yeah. Well, I'm very interested in finding out who that other guy is. I can tell you that. For now, though, this is a good stopping point. Wait, Mishir has 6 chapters for his route, so that's going to be at least another 2 full streams. I'm gonna try my best, though.
Okay. Then once again, thank you for coming tonight. I wish you a very nice rest of the weekend, even if it's not even a full hour left. Tomorrow is yet another Monday. None of us like Mondays, but we have to suffer through them. Let me put on the ending song. There we go. Once again, thank you very much for coming. See you soon. And bye bye.